What's going on, everyone? What's happening? Good evening, good morning, wherever you are in the world. What is going on, everyone? Let's see if I can't make this a hair bit bigger. I don't know where this thing is going here, but let's see if we can figure this out. Get this a little bit bigger. We have started. Good evening to everyone. All right, audio is working. We are good. Photography, Light, and Magic is in the house. Third Eye Open is also in the house. James Cragen, what's going on? Photography, Light, and Magic again. Mauricio Rocha from Brazil. What's happening with you, Mauricio? Glenn Judd's in there. Noodles, what's going on? He's already saying whack that like button, guys. Let's see. Mimi Reacts. How are you? Hello from Germany. How is everyone? They're asking. We're all doing good. I hope we are. Let's see. James Cragen. Hi, Chris Mann, and hi all. Anth Wallace, UK watching. What's going on? Wave my hand at everybody over at the big pond, there. John Beck, what's happening? Good to see you in there, brother. Ron Conrad. Hey, everyone. Kenny Riley, evening, guys, he's saying. Gary Beckner, what's going on? Live from Wichita, Kansas. What's happening? 420 Aliens in the house as well. Says, hey, everyone. Great videos this week, Chris. Thanks. Yeah, I just squeaked that one in, about an hour or two ago. Hope you guys got a chance to have a look at it. Some crazy anomalies in that thing. If it's not, like I said in the video, if it's not one of the best that shows what looks like objects that just don't look like rocks, right? Don't look natural at all. Donnie Goosens. Well, guess they're waiting for us to get on, so here we are. Miss Heard's in the house. What's going on? Says, hi, everyone. Hello, Chris. Hello, Miss Heard. I hope you're doing well. William Johnson. What's going on? Hey, Chris, just watching a new video. It is pretty interesting. Some of the stuff I've seen, and I'm buried in that thing. Is like, wow. Lucky Mo, what's going on? Says, thumbs up. Slam it. Renee Von Oosterhood, what's going on? Hi, Chris, and chat. Gary 420, what's happening? Anth Wallace says, thanks for the shout-out, pal. Well, thanks for being here. Colleen Bonds, what's up from Vancouver, BC? What's going on? 786 Otto's in the house. Friday is here. Hi, everyone. Hello, Otto. How are you? Good to see you in there. Oh, yeah. A lot of interesting things going on this week. As somebody already alluded to. Was it, trying to think where this thing went. Let's see if I can find it. Yes, Mimi says, Mars' atmosphere glows green. Absolutely it does. Let's see. I actually have that already in here. Not that one. My bad. Right there. Green glow seen in the atmosphere of Mars, similar to Earth's from space station. Imagine that. Astronomers have... Oh, let me make this a little bigger so everybody can probably read this. Astronomers have identified a green glow in the Martian atmosphere, not unlike the glow observed by astronauts from space station... Well, it says not unlike, rather. The glow observed by astronauts from the space station when they look towards the Earth. According to the BBC report, the glow comes from oxygen atoms, when they get excited by sunlight. While it has long been predicted to occur on other planets, the Trace Gas Orbiter, the TGO, which is a joint European-Russian satellite at Mars, is the first to make the observation outside Earth. Okay, so interesting when you read this. I mean, it looks like, you can see right here, this is supposed to be an artist's rendition, right? But you go down here, you see the same kind of glow. Imagine that. And they're saying, it's got to do with the magnetosphere, or basically the magnetosphere, or the magnetic field. And, it says the study results published by the journal Nature Astronomy add that the emissions are the consequence of collisions between atmospheric molecules and charged particles that are racing away from the sun. On Earth, these interactions are heavily influenced by the planet's strong magnetic field, which pulls the particles down towards the two magnetic poles. You guys starting to see a picture here? Maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm right, but maybe Mars has a little bit more its magnetic field than they're saying, right? Maybe not, but it seems that way. It seems like everything they said in the past, which, didn't have any water at one time, now it's got water. Didn't have any kind of water cycle, didn't have this, the temperatures are really cold, blah, 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 blah. And now everything's kind of flip-flopped and it's going in the other direction, right? So what do you guys think of that? Let's see. In a statement by European Space Agency lead author Jean-Claude Girard of the University de Liège in Belgium said, one of the brightest emissions seen on Earth stems from night glow. More specifically, from oxygen atoms emitting a particle wavelength of light that has never been seen around another planet. So Mars has seasons just like here on Earth. Of course, they're a little bit more extreme due to atmospheric and everything else. You get that radiational cooling. If they claim it's as thin as they say it is, then guess what happens? Well, during the day, it heats up quite nice on the ground. And then, of course, it escapes pretty quickly at night because there's nothing to blanket it and hold it in, right? So, and you can see this is an actual picture, and this is supposed to be an artist rendition, which I don't understand why they would do that. Just show a real picture, but you know how that goes. Let's see. Jean-Claude and the team were able to spot the emission using NOMAD, nadir, and occultation from Mars discovery, and including the ultraviolet and visible spectrometers, or the UVIS. Co-author of study Anne Karain, blah, 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 principal investigator of NOMADs, that the study's authors decided to point out at the edge of Mars and found emission at an altitude of 80 kilometers, which also depends on the changing distance between Mars and the Sun, of course, because obviously you get more accelerated particles if you're closer, so on and so forth, right? Understanding the properties of Mars' atmosphere is key to operating missions to the red planet, or to the planet, right? According to ESA, studying the glow of the planetary atmospheres can provide a host of information about its compositions and dynamics, even revealing how energy is deposited in it by both the sun's light and solar wind, right? So pretty interesting. Already had that on deck, by the way, Mimi, but good call on that. And there's a couple other things, too, we have. Let's see. Did I miss anybody else get in there? Grant McGowan's in there. Good to see you. They said, hi, Chris. Good to see you. Just been watching a vid of Sol 1112. Mind-blowing stuff. I thought so, too, to be honest with you. I mean, I didn't even have to do anything to this photo, and you can see a lot of the things. I think I was jokingly calling like the other thing that looked like either a giant fish hook or I said a Martian, crowbar or something like that. But what is it? I mean, clearly it isn't a rock. Now, there was one guy who actually posted on that video and said, most of the time a rock is just a rock, and, but keep looking. It's like, listen, and I respect anybody's comments. That's why I say drop them down. So I don't care about that. And as long as it's not belligerent, I don't mind. Let it be on there because they're speaking their mind, and that's their opinion, right? But when I see things that look like that, the things in there's no way that could be possibly rocks, right? I mean, is it possible it's just a funky part of an edge of a rock and the rock is buried on some of these things? Sure. But not some of the things we pulled out. There's no way. If it was one piece, you'd say, it's just a freak thing. It's not a big deal. All the rest of it's rocks. But there's too many things in there to say that clearly that's all rocks. There's just no way. Let's see. Seamers Ferry. Hi, everyone. Love watching this. Well, we love you being here. Fresh baked and swampy scented noodles. Janice Michaelos, hashtag not a rock. Absolutely not. Hey, we ought to put that on shirts. What do you guys think of that? Hashtag not a rock. Mars, not a rock. Maria Nordemer, I'm sorry. Hello all, Chris. What's going on, Maria? Good to see you in there. Stefan Langeveld, it says, hey all. Hope I didn't butcher your last name. My apologies if I did, Stefan. James Cragen, thank you for your support as always, my friend. He said, Chris, great video on Mars just today. Man, oh man, it's a showstopper. Man, honestly, top of the range again, Chris. Well, I appreciate it, James. Yeah, I mean, even a lot of you guys have jumped in there. And like I said, I always appreciate everybody's comments and views, right? Because some of you guys even said, one was like, hey, how come you didn't see that thing that looks like some kind of weird animal? And I did actually say that. I said like a Martian dog or something like that, right? And it's right next to that rock that I said it looks like a Martian toaster, right? But it looks like some little animal with its legs, its front legs like standing like this here. Of course, that's just maybe a pareidolia thing on that because there's not enough detail, but it kind of does have that shape, right? So, yeah. Again, James, thanks, brother. Appreciate it. Lucky Mall, hi, Chris. And, of course, he's saying, Miss Hurd, Noodles, John Beck, everyone. Mimi, you asked, Chris, have you heard about the unknown object which exploded off Australia? I heard something about that, but I didn't look into it. I don't know anything about it, to be truthful with you. Anybody else have any more insight about it? Or Mimi yourself, do you? Any more insight? What's going on, Taylor? He said, hey, Chris. What's going on, Taylor? Good to see you in there. Tim Hughes is in the house. He said, good morning, Chris, and fellow travelers from Oz. Oh, yeah. Where the swamp gas is thick. Oh, this thing just jumped on me again. Darn it. Renee Vaughn, you said, what a fantastic video, Chris, the latest one you were saying. Had some interesting things in there. And like I said, a lot of times, you see something, you just go, okay, there's nothing really of any value. But when I see some things that just stand out and you don't have to do a thing to the photo, yeah, I just got to go into it. I got to check it out. And like anybody else would, right? If any of you guys are doing this stuff, same stuff, right? Throw it into Photoshop, have a look at it, and you'll be amazed at what you see, right? William Johnson, yes, like an aurora. Absolutely. Kind of sort of like it, but it has that kind of weird, you've seen it, what the picture looked like, right? Cheers, mate. Greetings from Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. What's going on? Good to see you. What's going on, Adam? He said, hey, Chris, how's the hangout with the fam going? Oh, it's fantastic. Always good time here. Great family here. Well, that's it, Tim. You asked a question, Tim Houston. You said, so how much oxygen is really in the Martian atmosphere? Well, a lot of it gets, expelled from the ground itself and, from water, which can happen. But, yeah, I mean, are they really telling us the truth? Again, remember back 5-10 years ago, no water, scarce, nothing, just carbon, nothing else on the poles, da-da-da-da-da. Now, well, wait a minute. There's H2O under the carbon ice of these poles. Okay. Then they said there's an actual, water cycle in Gale Crater. Is it a surprise that these guys are here? No. They knew exactly where they're going to drop down this rover and knew exactly where to put it. Paris Rayner, you said, I never miss a video, Chris, and the one you posted earlier was great. Keep them coming. Well, I appreciate that. What's going on there, Colleen Barnes? Good to see you there. $786 Auto, he said, don't like that glow. Looks like a copper corrosion included a high level of dissolved oxygen called oxygen corrosion. The other thing is, too, speaking of corrosion, somebody had commented, said something about, I'm trying to remember exactly what they said because I don't want to misinterpret it, but they said something about, well, there's really no water on there, so there's no kind of erosion that way. And, well, clearly there isn't, but what I was referring to was wind erosion. And if they have, they claim that a 300-mile-an-hour wind on Mars is around 60 miles an hour here on Earth due to the actual pressure of the atmosphere, right? And I said, okay, still, 60-mile-an-hour winds, if you get that quite often over, they claim, thousands of years, and some people don't believe that this is a recent destruction of the planet, and they said, no, it's thousands upon thousands of years ago. Okay, we'll go with that. But wind erosion, can you imagine just standing there, 60-mile-an-hour winds, dust, sand particles whacking you for thousands upon thousands of years? You should not see any sharp corners. You should see everything is completely rounded and smooth, almost like a rock in the water, you know what I'm saying, where they're all smoothed out because of the actual current, and it just slowly, makes them smoother. Well, you can have something that's totally sand-beaten, like being in a sandblaster kind of thing, right? And I'm sure the wind can get much higher to boot, Butter M, damn, missed 10 minutes. Hello, all. You're good. We're just saying hello to everybody and just starting to get into it, so you're good. Kyle Harvey, I'm sorry. Oh, I almost missed out just in time, ain't I? Yes, you are. Good to see you there, man. Alien Tenno, what's going on? He said, hi, Chris. Hi, all. Johnny Prod's in there. Hey, Chris. With this new rover going on Mars, more things we're going to see. Yeah, I'm just hoping it's not going to be the same crap we've been seeing here. I'm more interested, and I know you guys are too, is that what kind of photos that thing's going to do, the actual helicopter is going to do from the air. Now, even if it's 7, 15, 20 feet off the ground, I want to see what kind of photos they show there, if they're going to show it all. Probably be highly CGI. I want to see it right over that rover. And we'll be able to tell if they kind of like manipulated it and went around, you know, things like that. We'll see. I think they jumped on me again. Let's go back up here. I hate when this thing drops. I really got to go back. Okay. And go back to where I was. This thing just totally jumped on me here. Pete Ferrero. Those weren't rocks for sure. Wow. Good to see you in there, Pete. Alien Tenno, thank you for your support as usual, man. You said Mars rocks, but NASA pixels, LOL. I know. It's sad. Kyle, thank you for the support. You said, I'm here. Oh, yeah. Again, he's here. His Noodles, sup, bro? Thank you guys for the support. Greatly appreciated. Michael Stark's in the house. What's going on? He said, hey, Chris. Happy Friday, everyone. Photography like magic. I hear Specsavers are planning to open 20 new stores next to NASA due to demand. God, I hope they do get them. Well, like I said, it makes you wonder, are they doing this stuff deliberately? Like, you know, some of these guys are like, yeah, let's get rid of all of this except for this, that, and the other. Because you know darn well they can cover this all up. I mean, really, let's be honest. They can cover all of this stuff up with ease, and yet they don't. So it makes you wonder. They just kind of, you know, like I said, like anybody's inquisitive enough can find this stuff. Anybody who's just like, bleh, whatever, they won't notice it. I don't know. Tim, you said the local media trotted out the meteorite explanation. Maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. Don't know enough about it. Yeah, I'm the same way, right? Abstract One, you said, hey, Chris, hello from Miami. What's going on? Jackball TV, are you excited for Mars 2020 rover? I am. Well, technically it'd be 2020 rover. It's supposed to be, I don't know if you guys heard this, but it was supposed to be April. It's supposed to have launched. Now it's in July. I think is it the middle of July now? I know they postponed it. So, yeah, it'll be there in 2021. But, yeah, it's still considered the 2020 rover as far as I'm concerned. But, yeah, it's got new, you know, instruments on it, better cameras, supposedly. We'll see how much better they are. And, of course, it's got the helicopter on it, too. So, we'll see what happens with that, too. I'm just going to be curious. How many of you guys think it's going to be absolute crap like we're seeing now? Because remember I told you that it went from, like, a certain way they would manipulate it with the texture and everything. Now when you look at them, and I showed you the difference on one half of a gigapan to the other, one looked okay, meaning still manipulated, and then the other was like total different texture they use. How many of you guys think it's gonna happen the same way? Sorry, I mean I like to be optimistic, but I don't see it, and I think they're gonna really, you know, baffle us with BS as far as that copter too. But I'm hoping, you know, it'll be a little bit different. But yeah, Jackball TV, yeah, I am. I'm definitely I'm excited about it. Graham McGowan, you said, looking at Sol 1112, go to 9 minutes and 8, where you circle the anomaly, and I swear there's a fallen statue of what I can only describe as a warrior. His torso and head remain. He's even wearing a helmet. See, that's what I'm saying. You guys are awesome on this stuff. Some of you guys are like, oh, how come he's not pointing that out? I don't know. I think I pointed out quite a bit of stuff in that particular photo or the screen grab, right? So I think I pointed out quite a bit. So a lot of times, I love it when you guys pull this stuff apart, and you may see stuff different than I have, and also additional. I even said that in the video. You guys will probably find a whole lot more. Because even, to be honest with you guys, I'm just saying, like, I'm just probably scraping the tip of the iceberg here. And you can bet whatever we're seeing is only the tip of each part. In other words, like that weird hook type thing we've seen in there. I called it the crowbar. We don't know if that thing's much bigger, but because they put all this texture and these fake rocks and everything around it, that thing might be a lot bigger. We're only seeing a part of it. Maybe it is actually buried in the ground, and we're only seeing the part of it, right? Kenny Riley said, how many times has it been seen, or is it just occasionally? You talking about the actual, the green glow, or what are you talking about, Kenny? I just want to be on the same page as you, that's all. David R. Evening. David UK. Hope you're okay, mate. We're doing fine, David. I hope you're doing well as well. Alejandro, what's going on? He said only oxygen or oxygen and another gas. Well, I mean, if you go on to Mars atmosphere, you can see it right here. And I'll go ahead and enlarge it for you guys. You can see this right from actualspace.com. I like to show a documentation and back what I say. Well, you can see here, what is the Mars atmosphere made of? The atmosphere of Mars is about 100 times thinner than Earth's, which I'm kind of leaning towards BS. It is 95% carbon dioxide. Here's a breakdown of its composition according to a NASA fact sheet. And there you go. 95.32% carbon dioxide, 2.7% nitrogen, 1.6% argon, and 0.13% oxygen, 0.8% carbon monoxide. Also minor amounts of water, nitrogen, oxide, neon, hydrogen, deuterium, oxygen, and krypton and xenon. So, yeah, there you go, right? Just so you guys will know. So, yeah, I mean, but every time you see stuff like this, you just kind of go, I believe it, but I don't. You know what I mean? Because you want to believe if it is actual facts, that's what you want to do. You want to fact check it, right? But every time you see, like, different things they come out with, it kind of, like, goes against this kind of thing. Or at least the numbers are not accurate. Let's just put it that way, right? In other words, they're not total BS, but they might be not correct. At least not 100%, right? Adam, you said, Chris, was that dark shadow I pointed out last Mars video moon or other UFO maybe? I don't know. Truthfully, I don't know, Adam. It was kind of bizarre, and it's like, I'm not 100% sure, to be truthful with you. Kyle, you asked, what does everyone think about the SpaceX? 120,000 to go around the moon. That would be pretty interesting, man. It's like bucket list kind of thing. The problem is I see a lot of people, unless they're putting a house up for a loan, and put a lien on it to get a loan to do that. That would be pretty interesting. Think about that. It's like, yeah, sure, as long as I can bring my cameras and, telephoto lens, and it's like 6 feet long, like so we can see what's on the surface. That would be interesting. I don't know. And who knows, once they start it more and more, then that probably drop like a rock, it'd be like 60,000 to go in, Because I think a lot of that is like inflated, so this way here they can actually help fund the spacecraft, stuff like that. Obviously fueling more spacecraft, so on and so forth. So that may be what that's for them too, right? Tim, you said if NASA are parachuting rovers onto the surface of Mars, they must have a pretty good idea of the denseness of the atmosphere, if that's how they're really landing them. Well, yeah, I mean, the first ones, both, I'm trying to remember the Sojourner, how that one went down, and I'm almost positive that came down almost like in a kind of like airbag type thing as the other two rovers. Now, you had the Sojourner in 1997. You had 2004, you had the Spirit and Opportunity rovers. Those came down in like giant airbags, like balls all over them, right? So once they were released from the craft, it's let it go, and it bounced until it came to rest. And then once it righted itself, and then it opened up like a flower type thing, and then this thing came out and about. So now the Curiosity was dropped by a crane, where it had like its rockets and everything. It just lowered it down until it just put it down. And then it just took off, and it just crash landed somewhere close to the rover, but off in the distance a little bit. So those are different. So they had different ways they landed, right? But yeah, people have questioned that. They had to have really, really large parachutes, according to NASA, because the atmosphere is so thin. I mean, I still don't know how they can know exactly the density of that darn atmosphere. You could take measurements, but is it 100% correct? Did they make it extremely large purposely in case it was thinner than they thought? That's a possibility, right? Last thing you want to do is have it, not big enough, and crash. So, I don't know. Alexandra Lima, Life on Mars. Absolutely. William, you say, yeah, the same old pics. That's what you're thinking too, huh? And I hate to say that because it's like, man, it's like, I'd love to just see him just come out with the real deal. I don't care if it's just moss on a rock. Who cares, right? But it shows you something. Alien 10, that's kind of new to me. He said Earth's magnetic field flip-flopped twice yesterday. Would explain the erratic weather systems. Although, yeah, the weather is a little goofy. I don't know about your neck of the woods. I mean, it's nice today. It's like, according to this, it's 89 degrees right now with a heat index of 93, 51% humidity, right? Which is pretty, it's like a light breeze. It's like 4 to 7 miles an hour. Not a big deal. Just a light breeze. But yeah, I mean, it's been crazy lately. But I haven't heard about that, about the magnetic fields. Yeah, Kenny, I agree with you. They said they won't let us see better pics. Be interesting to see what comes of the drone. Yeah, I would be too. I mean, I want to see what they show. I mean, because you know they're going to have to show aerial, right? They want to at least show you over the actual rover. Now, I'm just wondering what they're going to do. Are they going to put this thing in a spot where there is absolutely nothing and give you a nice crystal clear picture? Or is it going to be the like superimpose and be a piece of crap CGI? We don't know, right? Yep, Mimi's looking forward to it as well. The helicopter photos and pictures, absolutely. Alexandra Lima, NASA fake news in Mars. In the Mars? James Craig, he said, Chris, the American government covered up the project called Tikal. It's about the guy that invented the laser. His name was Myron Muckerheed in the film Close Encounters of the Third Kind. It's mind-blowing. Oh, yeah. I actually like that movie. I actually, believe it or not, I found this years ago as the original VHS, Close Encounters of, and it was like, when I got that, and it's completely sealed. It's never been opened. I said, imagine that. As long as I can keep it away from a magnet, I'll be just fine, right? Adam, you said, Chris, there was a video on Set Meteorite YouTube short. Looked blue in color, strange 5 days ago. Huh. I haven't seen that one either. Alien, I like the way your reaction to what you said to Mimi. The Helio pics will look like you're playing Desert Strike on a Mega Drive. On Mega Drive. That's pretty funny. Probably the sad part about it is you're probably right. Dale Rogers, what's going on? He said, am I late? Kyle, I'm in Kent, Ohio, 72 degrees. Well, neighbor, you're actually a little cooler than I am here. Are you guys getting rain over there, Dale? Kyle, you said there's life all over the entire universe, and if you don't believe, then you shouldn't believe any of this. Absolutely. I just find it hard to believe after all we've been seeing that there hasn't been life in the whole solar system, man. I don't believe that. If you're getting it on Mars, like, again, I've said this before. People say, well, that's totally stupid, man. There's no way there could be life on a gaseous planet. There's no way there could be life on a really super cold planet. Nobody says these people are walking on the surface. That's what they got to understand. You could have like a mega city underground, above ground, and it's got its own atmospheric conditions built into it. You don't need to be on a really cold or warm planet in order to survive. You could have, on a real hot planet, you could have steel that can withstand all that. Or maybe they're built in underground. People assume that it's going to be people like us, first of all, and they're going to breathe just like us and all that other stuff. Nobody says that. I mean, you can't assume that. You have to assume that, even if there was aliens came to this planet today, our atmosphere might kill them. Just because we live on it perfectly, we adapt. Okay, that doesn't mean they can, unless they do it over a course of time. Or they use some kind of breathing apparatus, right? Just like we might have to do on Mars, depending on how thin the actual oxygen content really is, right? So, yeah. Michael Stark, you said, Chris, great last few lunar videos. Ken Johnston's collection has the aerial shot of the crater, and it's very bright. When adjusted, there are objects laying all over the rim of the crater. Oh, yeah. There's quite a bit of that. I like going to his because, again, although his is manipulated, they're not nearly as bad. Not nearly. And I've done a comparison on one of mine a long time ago and showing the difference between the third, fourth generation as opposed to his, which I believe his is supposed to be first gen. But the problem with it is they're not going to let those things go. Think about it. Yeah, throw these in the trash, they told him. You think they're going to let that go unedited? No. Come on. That would get out and be like, phew. Oh, holy hell would break loose. Robert Reed Nelson, he said, evening news. I just wondered any news regarding the Antikythera mechanism or the ancient spark plugs of the Baghdad batteries. Mind you found on planet Earth. Oh yeah, absolutely. I've seen those a long time ago. The Antikythera, they said there's more parts than a Swiss watch. The Baghdad batteries are the real deal. All it is basically using is fruit acid or acid from a fruit, like a lemon or so on and so forth. So they're absolutely real. They don't produce a whole lot of voltage, but in series, just like a new battery today, you can get X amount of voltage and they can do gold plating. That's what they think those things were for. Some people think that they had their own lighting at one time. I don't know about the lighting thing because you're going to have to have a vacuum inside a bulb type thing, or else you will burn out the filament. Unless, of course, it's very low current. That's a possibility. But they think it was for gold plating, right? And it could very well be. Mr. Gottesman says, hey, nice to be here. Well, Mr. Gottesman, good to have you here. Andrew Haverman's in the house. He said, I think every star with planets likely has some life. Yeah, I mean, again, put them in the Goldilocks zone like we are in Mars, and I almost guarantee there is. Now, is it life like us? Are there beings? Or is it just plant life and animals? Either way, it's life, right? It'd be interesting to see other life forms on another planet. Even if they went there with a drone and said, guys, you wouldn't believe this. We found another planet. Humans could never live on it, but look at the animals that are on it. That would be so interesting and cool at the same time. Hell, I'd pay to see that. Thank you, Mr. Gottesman. I appreciate your support. You said a little cup of tea, Chris. Love your work, man. Well, I do appreciate you, Mr. Gottesman, and I appreciate you being here and your support. Wow, this thing jumped a lot. As soon as I got off Mr. Gottesman's the actual support thing he had, and it went and it shot way the hell off. I'm like, what is going on here? Andrew Haberman says the star is just a seed for life. Absolutely. Steve Pell, I would try to send my own rocket and rover without any space agencies. Okay, I agree with you. And I've said this before, I wonder, and you can almost guarantee it, these people that are multi-millionaires, and I mean filthy rich, if they spent, $3 trillion, it'd be like a dent in their freaking big piggy bank, right? Of course, that's a little overboard, but let's say millions. I mean, all they're going to do is just talk to some space agency. Hey, listen, guys, do me a favor. Build this craft. I want it to, orbit around a certain planet. I need it to have the best camera in the world, best technology. Oh, yeah, we can do that. We can do that. And I want you to send it, once you go around the planet slowly for a few days, I want to take all kinds of pictures and then crash the damn thing into the planet. Okay, we can do that. Who's to say they haven't done this? You can almost guarantee it. Almost guarantee it. Nobody has to know. It doesn't have to be, these space agencies don't have to know that. Joey Centofanti said, did they ever find the Beagle? Yes, they actually have. I'm not sure if it was taken by the, trying to remember if it was the actual Hubble or if it was the LRO, the Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter, but they actually do say they found the actual Beagle. Yes, absolutely. Kenny Riley said, are you responding to Kyle? I agree with you, there's been life on most planets, but we will never ever really find out. I think at some point, Kenny, it will slip out. It'll definitely come out at one time. Because I think if they open up the can of worms when it comes to Mars, again, we're looking at the moon. We see crazy things on the moon. It looks like derelict spacecraft, things or structures, right? And then all of a sudden, they say, oh, Mars had something. Again, it's almost like you can come to that conclusion, although you shouldn't. But you can always come to the conclusion every planet had life. It doesn't matter. It could be very diverse. It doesn't have to be like us, right? It would be interesting to see that. Pete Ferrero, you said if there's sounds like they say, there's atmosphere. Yeah, even if it's thin, there should be some kind of sound, right? Absolutely. Steve, you said the way I would know and see with my own imaging equipment, unfiltered and unalterated pics. Absolutely. Robert Reed Nelson, you said, evening, Chris. Yeah, times is a knickers beats me. I have got modern timepiece and haven't changed a Duracell since 2004. Weird, right? Well, it depends. Sometimes these things don't consume a whole lot, right? Yeah, unfortunately, I think you're right there, Photography Light Magic. You said NASA will never reveal the real images. I think if they feel that they got enough technology, got enough of that crap, that they need out of there, or maybe these nukes they want to send, they want to bury these things completely in the ground. Maybe then they'll say, yeah, there's something here at some point. We can't figure out what this piece is, but we found it. But whatever, and leave it be at that. And that's maybe the most you'll come out with. But I think, like I said, my prediction is they'll definitely come out with some kind of life, whether it be moss, some kind of plant that's only indigenous to Mars, whatever. And they'll say, well, it's something like a cactus that we have here and that barely any water. Think about it. Or it only likes salt water. This is, that's why it's next to these little brine areas. Yeah. Mimi, you said it's raining buckets here. Nothing new. We were supposed to get rain for like 2 or 3 days and nothing's happened. Johnny Prod, you said, I think that if this SpaceX commercial, flights work, they're going to be a setup. NASA, they're only going to show us what they allow us to see. Only the spots that only has normal rocks, etc. Yeah, you can almost bet on that. Or they'll say, yeah, because we didn't put any windows in this thing, if they're going to go around the moon, if that's what you're talking about, the trips, they won't have it. They'll just have a screen. Yeah, because of the pressure, we're not going to have any windows, so we'll let you see this through the screen. Complete crap. Or they will actually show that, right? The windows. But like you said, they'll take you in areas either A, you can't see because it's on the other side of the moon, and it may be dark at that moment, and areas that they know there's nothing there to see, right? Mimi, he said German summer is a sad thing. Ooh, that ain't good. Pete Ferrero, he said 86 degrees in Buffalo. Light breeze. That's pretty toasty. That's pretty good. Third Eye Open said, wish it would rain here. What, are you having a drought over there? Grant, you said, I don't trust NASA. I would bet they're lying about the atmosphere. I would like to believe you could actually breathe up there without a helmet, but wear a suit because it gets cold. Or just go into an actual... just living quarters, right? And just get away from the cold. It's like anybody else. I mean, it's just common sense. Like people in Alaska when it's like 6 months of cold, or darkness rather. Just stay inside. Or you completely dress for it, and of course the vehicles are too. Radiators practically blocked off, so on and so forth, the way they run these things. I think they even run like an alcohol instead of like antifreeze. I forget what it is they do up there. But regardless, you just go inside. Stay warm. Which reminds me, I've showed you this before, REMS, which is basically, you can see it right here. REMS is an instrument for Mars environmental monitoring. Look at this. Balmy 63 degrees on the latest Sol 2794, and with a minimum of negative 112. I'm not so sure I believe that, but I would believe there'd be an extreme drop-off if there isn't hardly any cloud cover, again, to blanket it in the atmosphere, to blanket it and keep it, the radiational, you'll have a lot of radiational cooling because of that, right? Air temperature is 37 degrees, and of course you can switch it here and go to Celsius. So it's 3 degrees max in air temperature and, 17 degrees Celsius for a high that day, right? It's not that cold like everybody thinks. Now let's go back a few sols. 72 degrees the day prior. That's ground temperature. That's Fahrenheit. Celsius is 22 degrees. So don't tell me it doesn't get warm there. Here it is. It's right there. Mars Weather Station. This is Curiosity rover, by the way. They do have one on the Mars InSight. And you can see the air temperature is 25. So if you're an animal and you're living close to the ground, you can come out and just baste in the sun. If you're a being on there, you can baste in the sun. Oh, wait a minute. Sun's going down. Time to get underground. You're not going to freeze to death. You'll be perfectly fine. We can keep going back too, guys. Look at 61 degrees. It's in summertime like we're going to be getting into. Technically, what is it? This weekend, I think it is, on the 21st. So, going to be switching into summertime. They have the same exact, pretty darn close seasons like Earth does here. So there you go, right? 41 degrees max temperature, 37, 61. I mean, here you go, guys. Look at it. It's right there. 54, 55, 59, 64. I mean, and then you can just hit this one, go right back to the last day or the latest, Sol. There you go. You and I could live on that planet with no problem at all. Now, if it is a little thin on the atmosphere in some areas, simple breathing apparatus would work. You could walk around, and as long as you're within the magnetic fields, you're not going to get baked. Solar radiation. It'll protect you. And even if you had to wear a suit for that, you could still breathe it, or at least not have to wear a heavy suit to stay warm, right? Unless, of course, it's at night, and you will definitely be a human-sicle. So, yeah. Alexandra Lima says, hey, buddy, I've been investigating NASA photos for 20 years. My QG UFO channel visited. Makes observations, VC braces. Oh, okay. Cool. That's good. I'm glad, there's a lot of people doing these because you don't see a whole lot of that, right? Let me see this. This should be the actual, this was supposed to be animated. You can see it blowing around, and it's not animated to show like actual wind, but there you go. In the picture, you can see one of the 3 temperature sensors we installed on the master. But there's actually temperature sensor, but there's also, and I'm trying to remember which one this one had. Okay. Okay. But you get the idea. This thing actually has it had like a wind sensor as well. It has wind sensors. There's actually 2 of them in 2 different directions. I don't know if they show it on this page. They don't show it on this particular one. That's the Mars Insight. And it actually has I think it's got a wind detector and as well as temperature, pressure, stuff like that. Barometric pressure, so on and so forth. But yeah. Robert, you said the question was, Chris, anyone having phenomenon with batteries? Not that I know of. Everything seems all right. Josh D, what's going on? He said, hello all. I hope you are all well. Hi, Chris. What's going on, Josh D? Good to see you in there. Mr. Gottesman, he said, it'll be a dodgy GIF video made to look like it was taken at 360p resolution instead of the 4K 60 frames per second. Video will probably have. Yeah, exactly. Like they do with the Opportunity rover, right? They took a whole bunch of photos and stitched them and said, oh, look, this is a video. Well, it's not really. It's just stills in progression, right? Mimi, you said, you asked, you said, I watched a film about Bob Lazar on Netflix. How is he still alive after spilling government secrets? Well, I think he figures that after all this time, that if he disappeared, they would definitely question it. And everybody would be like, okay, so clearly the government did actually get to him this time. Because at one point, they literally, and he's still trying to actually straighten this out, is that they basically erased him. I think they said you don't even exist, basically. You have no Social Security, no ID, no nothing. You never worked over here. At certain place like Area 51, Groom Lake, all this other stuff. They said, you don't even exist. He's like, bull. And he's got the documentation to prove that, right? Kylie said, you're right. There's life even around our area. There's people taking videos and pictures every single day, and they're not manipulated. Nope, just as plain as can be. And like I said, I mean, when you say raw photo of Mars, what part is raw? When you first get it? Because it sure and heck ain't raw once the public gets it, right? There's nothing raw about these photos. Raw to me means uncut, unmolested, absolutely just boom, just true to life photo, right? Now, and if it's RGB, like most standard cameras are, then you should see everything with brilliant colors, crisp and clear, nothing fudged out or, blurred out purposely, or, like I said, they use like these fake compression artifacts and they just put it all over everything in the area they don't want you to see. So clearly they're not raw photos, right? Divine Catalan, how you doing? You said, hello, Mars family. Hello, Chris. Was doing some yard work. Go figure. It's been raining for a week today, 80. Man, like I said, we keep saying it's going to rain here, and it's funny because being in a mountainous state, you can actually see it go like this, coming up towards it, and it's like splits apart when it comes to us. It's like, part the clouds. It's like, strange. But it doesn't mean we don't get rain. We get some serious storms here. Andrew Haberman, there's life on Earth that hasn't been discovered yet. Absolutely. Go look at the new life forms found in Antarctica and the oceans. They found, like, what was it, like 6 new life forms and everything else? Didn't even know existed. And I guarantee in the deepest oceans, like the Marianas Trench, I guarantee they'll find a lot more. And I remember seeing things when they finally landed and hit the bottom of that trench, the creatures around. I'm saying, how do these things not implode? I mean, the pressure is ungodly amounts, and yet these things are just swimming around down there. I'm like, wow, that's just insane. And some of the bioluminescent, they're just swimming around, and it's just crazy. Alien Tenno, you said, living with my wife has nearly killed me a few times. Oh, that ain't good. Kyle, you said, good job, Chris, for bringing us all together here. Well, actually, I'm just here. You guys come together by yourselves. Just a gathering, so to speak, right? That's what I like to call it. Everybody's gathering around the round table, and we're all discussing it. Pretty much the way I look at it. Alexandra, you said, NASA hides the truth, the case of the UFO in the Bonesville crater with the Spirit mission. They said they would land with Curiosity to investigate, but they never did. Yeah. Well, I mean, and if you look at the actual missions to Mars, you can see where you got Curiosity rover. Well, if you're looking at it this way, it'd be Curiosity rover, and you got Spirit over here, and the Opportunity, they're way over here. They're like X amount of miles away, right? Just watched your last upload, Chair's mate said. Well, what do you think? Crazy stuff in there, man. Incredible stuff. Yeah, just kind of weird stuff you didn't expect to see on a landscape, right? It's supposed to be just a dead planet and has nothing there to offer. And you guys seen that where we looked at the that green glow. What did they say? It says right here. And a lot of people don't realize how many actual countries are there. It says right there, which is a joint European-Russian satellite at Mars. I mean, there you go. I mean, what? So, yeah, there's just a lot of that going on, right? A lot of countries are going there, and there's more going there, by the way. Check this out. UAE is going there. Counts down to launch of its maiden Mars mission to study climate atmosphere. Please correct me if I'm wrong. Isn't that why the MAVEN orbiter's there? Isn't that the reason why the MRO, the Mars Reconnaissance orbiter's there? These other orbiters, aren't they there for that reason? What's the Curiosity rover has its own weather station. Why would they go there just to do this? The first space mission to Mars from the United Arab Emirates, so the UAE, is preparing for its imminent liftoff. Why is my phone upside down? Don't know why. Somebody's blowing up my phone. The mission will take 7 months to make the 493 million kilometer journey to Mars, which will function as an orbiter to collect scientific data on the red planet. Whoops, wrong one. Let me see. The mission, called Amal, Hope in Arabic, will send back data about the red planet's climate and atmosphere, BBC reported. The probe is designed to stay in Mars orbit for 687 days, roughly 1 Martian year. Now, the program's science lead, Sarah Al-Amari, in a briefing on Monday, said that the project should be a major incentive for young Arab scientists to take up a career in space engineering. Is that the only reason? Could be. We are studying a planet that looks as if it was very similar to our own, but has undergone some form of change to the point it can no longer have water, one of the major building blocks of life. And of course we know that's BS, because there is in fact water on the planet. But it just makes you wonder. You can see it right here. It said the robotic craft is scheduled to launch from the Japanese island of Tanegashima. I could be totally butchering that. On July 14th, 2020. So, according to the Armenian Reporter, and you can see right here, it shows it's got the high gain antenna to put the information or send the information back to Earth. What else this thing got? Let's have a look. Oops, that's maybe a little too. Let's go back here just a little bit. We'll zoom in like 10,000%. Let me see. Exploration imager. Ultraviolet spectrometers on there. Infrared spectrometer. Let's see. 120 Newton Delta V thrusters, or Delta 5. 600 watt solar panels. Okay. And it tells you the dimensions. Dimension 2.37 meters inches. And, well, it says meters. Width is 2.9. And height and weight, wet mass is 1,500 kilograms. Star trackers, 5 Newton RCS thrusters, aluminum honeycomb structure with composite face sheet, 20 gigabytes of data storage. Really want to store a whole lot, but there's probably just photos to take the information or get the information, upload it, and then send it back to Earth, which makes sense. Yeah, interesting. Like I said, everybody's getting in on this party, guys. Everybody's getting in on it. It's not just, we're going to go check out the weather over there. Whatever. Jump down here. James Cregan, thank you very much for your support, man. Chris, if people can survive in Ireland with our weather, I have no doubt anyone could survive on the moon or Mars. Yeah, man. I love this hangout. Colleen Barnes, thank you very much for your support as well. Got the big, what is that thing anyway? Doing the thumbs up thing. I always get a kick out of those animated dancing things. And this thing just jumped big time on me. Well, where did it go? Okay, there you are. Yes. Looks like a little chick or something like that. Just thumbs up. Appreciate your support. Alien Tenor as well. Thank you very much, sir. Chris Singer lament for our ozone. We loved her. Okay, you're talking to Pete. Let's see. I think we all would, maybe. You said I would love to explore space. Absolutely. Exactly, Andrew. You said animals can, live at the bottom of the ocean, but we can't. Obviously, we can't breathe it, but I'm talking about just the pressure alone. You'd think would crush anything that's swimming around down there, but yet they do it. Yep, exactly, Tim. He said Greek sponge divers found that device off the island of Antikythera. Yep. That thing was interesting when I first saw it. And then they cleaned it up because it was all had coral on it and everything else. It was encrusted and everything else. And they cleaned up quite a bit, but then they ended up taking, x-rays of it to actually see it better. And, man. That's interesting. In my opinion, Bigfoot is an alien hybrid test chassis. Easily abducted when we get close, used for blending aliens' DNA to make optimized organs to eat, breathe, and survive here on Terra. And you know what? It's not out of the realm when you think about it. If it's true, you get these animal abductions. They had the cows and everything else. They were precision cut with laser, no blood anywhere, organs are missing. Whether it's reproductive organs, the stomach, heart, and whatever. It just makes you wonder what the hell was doing that. But, yeah. Yeah, I know, Kyle, I am behind. I'm going to go ahead and jump all the way down. So if I missed anybody's comment, please let me know. I just don't want to miss anybody there. Kyle, again, thank you for your support. You said the Navy was tracking a Tic Tac UFO for 10 minutes. Yeah, you had the Tic Tac UFO, and then you had the other one. What was that one? I'm trying to remember if that was on the East or West Coast, but then they had another one on the West Coast, or the opposite coast, we'll call it, right? So I'm going to jump all the way down here. Stel Jaron. Hello, chat. What's going on, Stel? Let me see. He said hello. I don't think I missed anybody else here. Let me see. Robert, you said thinking of a veil or covers, if you would. Water, fire, gas, pure black, whatever the illusion veil is. Then I will assume that the work babushka and dollars are real in a certain sense. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I would just love to see him just stop it all, right? Just non-filtered. Just tell us to show us the real deal, right? Chris, a UK engineer built a working exact copy on the Antikythera machine, and it was amazing. Must be on YouTube somewhere for those who are interested. Yeah, I'm almost positive they had built that thing, and because it's supposed to be for astronomy, wasn't it? I'm almost positive it was for some kind of machine, and it was to calculate either positions of the stars, or there was something else they said it might be related to. Metalhead, what's going on? You said, what's up, Chris? What's going on, brother? Good to see you in there. Kyle, and you said, and the cows come back with no blood in them at all, completely drained of blood. Which again, yeah, once they seen these incisions, there's nothing there. No blood, no nothing. I'm like, wow, that is just weird, right? This thing just jumped on me again, but it's all right. Alien Tennis says, problem is, we're still too Neanderthal, to understand aliens. Well, I think a lot of them are, meaning a lot of them are privy to this information. And I think we're just so far behind, but we're catching up, if you will. Catching up. We're still running after the prize, if you know what I mean, right? Ah, Subway. Quench that thirst. Renee, I know you were actually talking to Joss. He said these kinds of topics are quickly discharged by YouTube. Yeah, I mean, and the sad thing is they'll just say, well, if they fall into this conspiracy thing, we're going to go ahead and not really, advertise their videos. In other words, you won't see it suggested on the right-hand side. This is the reason why I tell you guys to push it. And it's not because I just want to really push you guys. I'm just saying, if they won't allow us to spread the word, meaning put the suggested videos in the right panel, then why don't we do it? Like I asked you guys to do what you can, put on the social media, whatever. I mean, your social sites or whatever, whether it be Twitter, whatever it may be, these videos, because you know what? People will start opening their eyes to it and say, wow, you get more people on board. I don't care if they don't watch my videos. The point is they're starting to go, wow, what is that? And why is it there? And you hope that somebody like a real scientist or geologist or whatever it may be, look at these things and go, what the hell? Clearly that's not natural or a rock, and start to question. It only takes one real professional to question. It has the power to be able to question NASA or these other space agencies, right? Kyle, you said these cows are being abducted. They are being eaten by the extraterrestrial entities that have to eat also like me and you. I don't think they're doing that at all, Kyle, to be truthful with you. I think they're making a hybrid. And maybe they're trying to get something similar to what we are, because like a pig heart is a lot like a human heart, right? So they may be making a hybrid type thing, and this is what they're trying to do. Who knows? I mean, I don't know. Or, like you said, they could be snacking on the rest of it, right? Who knows, right? William, yeah, I figured one of you guys would say that. Sure you're not a ad guy for Subway? Their meatball subs are great. Oh, no doubt. I usually get the BMT. It's pretty good, right? Little hot peppers on it, the jalapenos. Oh, yeah. Good one there, photography. You said NASA Raw file stands for randomly abused mush. Pretty much. Miss Heard, you said 103 in chat, but only 69 likes. Smash that thumbs up button, guys. Yeah, do that, man. And if you guys remember, I mean, if you can, you don't have to, but if you can, as soon as you guys see a new video, just automatically hit that thumbs up, because chances are, you're here for that reason, right? And you can almost bet there's going to be something that you're going to like in it. Because I like the last video. I mean, you guys all jumped on it the second I put the video on. It was like 800 at the time. It was 860 something views, and it was like 120 thumbs up. I'm like, guys, hit that thumbs up, man. Slam that thing. Whiskey 148, thank you, sir, for your, I'm guessing it's sir, so no disrespect if it's a woman. Whiskey, I'm sorry, 148, I appreciate your support. You said, you're awesome, I'm a believer, love your work, thanks. Well, much appreciated, man. Renee Vaughn, you said sharing again helps, absolutely. Custom Tailored One, what's going on? Good to see you. And he said, lab-grown meat? That could very well be. Meteor Axe, testing out Earth McDonald's. Ooh, that's surely to kill any alien. They're going to say, what is this crap these people eat? They do experiments on the people and eat the cows. Can you imagine if they are actually doing some kind of hybrid thing, though? That's just crazy, right? Wow. I can't even imagine what that would look like once they were done. James, you said, Chris, on the curse of the Skinwalker Ranch, it shows a UFO over a cow that just dropped dead with fright and said, and then when they left the animal to be scavenged by wild animals, none of them would go near it. Yeah, it's probably loaded with radiation, right? Oh, that's pretty interesting, Alien. You said, seriously, me and my buddy Craig, we were 13 at the time, had an encounter with two aliens. They were friendly, and we were never in danger. Next day, the police were all over that place. Wouldn't surprise me. As a kid, I saw one too. I was like, well, I was a teenager at the time. Well, you were actually a teenager too, technically. But I was probably 17, 18 at the time, and just sitting at my buddy's place. And like I said, we had this place called Jenks Park. It's in Central Falls, Rhode Island, and you can see that thing. And from his house, you can actually see this thing take off from the top of the tower. There's no way to get up there unless you walk it. So in other words, you can't get cars up there, you can't get buses up, trucks or nothing like that. It's just a simple path all the way to the top of this thing. And the next day we go there, there's like these three like impressions in the tall grass, and there's like a triangular kind of shape, like a tripod. We both looked at each other like, no way, there's no way that was real. I said, then what's this? And it's not like we had drones back then, so. Paul Weisberger, what's going on, man? By the way, I do appreciate your support. I know you said you got your shirt in there, so I do appreciate you. You said, I hit the thumbs up as soon as I came in. Hi, gang, he says. Oh, this thing just jumped on me again. Let's see. Frank Miklos, he said, BMT also on Italian and lettuce, tomato, green peppers, and onion with both mayo and Italian dressing. Oh, yeah. Cheers, mate. Nice big bistro burger. Oh, yeah. I don't know, Adam. You'd have to check on there yourself because it should show the shipping too. He said, Chris, I want to get one of your cups, merch. Would you know how much the shipping to, I'm not sure what that is, Oz. But I'm not sure. You'd have to see it on there because obviously it would be different and independently different from anybody else, depending on what country, what state, whatever, right? So that's something you'd have to check. I'm not entirely sure off the top of my head. Ms. Harrod, you said, if aliens are guilty of cow mutilations, why don't they just take the entire cow? Think about it. Mutilations seem human to me, whether to hoax or get TV attention or to hurt a rancher financially. Well, that could be too. But, to do it that clean is insane because, like they said, the incisions are like, wild as hell because it's not even blood stained on the outside, and even on the very edges of these things. It's crazy how they done that. Maybe somebody just messing around with it because maybe when they're using the laser kind of cauterizes the actual skin itself. Maybe that's why it doesn't bleed on the outside. Who knows, right? Jonathan Waddell, what's going on? Good to see you in there. Alien on the half shell. Kyle, he said, I'm surprised she's not in on this chat. Her and like Travis Walton, who was deducted, I'm sure, probably abducted rather, by extraterrestrials back in 1978, the same year I was born. Huh. Les Sweet, what's going on? Good to see you in there. He said, I've not been to Subways for months. BMT. Oh, yeah. It's nice to be able to actually walk into the place and actually get it. Man, stuff is sickening. Let me see here. I do this. Every now and then you guys ask me about this, so I'm going to... Grant, you said, hey, Chris, do you have merchandise supporting you and your channel? I do. I'm going to drop the link right now because I know sometimes you guys will ask me that. Now, I know on phones, and actually, I can see it on my computer. If I go on my videos, I don't see it underneath there, but on the phone, if I go on my iPhone, I can look at it, and it's actually underneath. The actual merch is underneath the videos, which is really weird on the computer. It's not. But there's the link right there, Grant. I just posted that. Kyle said Travis Walton was abducted by extraterrestrials in the 70s and he was missing for 5 days. Absolutely. At least that's what he says, right? And he was actually given a lie detector test and passed it. I think him and his buddies did, right? Wasn't it like 2 or 3 of them? There was 2 others, I think, besides him. And they were in that pickup truck and everything else. And I tell you what, it was Fire in the Sky, I think the movie was, right? Oh my God, that thing was insane when you seen the movie. The way he was actually had like this skin type thing over his face and he couldn't breathe and everything else. If my memory serves me well, that was his movie, or that was in the movie. Robert Orr, he said, or Robert Reed, Nelson. He said, I've seen stuff, just saying, but the visual crafts are real. But what are sat tech really? Hologram projections, never been on board a craft. Mystery of mysteries. No, that's true. You're welcome, Grant. Let me see. I hate it when this thing does this. Let me do it this way. That's better. Custom tailored one. You said, I don't know, Noodles. Lab-grown meat doesn't sound good. Well, if you look at GMOs, could very well be. Badur M says, donation super chat doesn't work in my country, but will gladly buy merch if possible. Well, much appreciated. Yeah, I mean, and the cool thing is, it's one thing to donate, but you're actually getting something in return. It's actually kind of nice, especially you could be sporting the shirt, I do every now and then. It's like a conversation. People like looking at me and go, what the hell is that? And they're like, oh. I've had people ask me about it. What is that? So it's a channel. It's my channel on YouTube. Oh, all right. What's going on, Coors? Good to see you in there. So, what up, Mars? What else we got here? I know you guys have seen this. This has been circulating. Mars may have once been a ring planet billions of years ago, say researchers. I don't know about all that, but I mean, it's not like it's out of the question, right? A new study says that Mars may have been a ringed planet, according to the researchers at SETI Institute of Purdue University. One of Mars' moons, Deimos, has a slightly altered orbit, which indicates that there must have been something responsible for the tilt. I don't know if maybe it's been like that since it's orbiting. Who the heck knows, right? But I think that one there is a Deimos, or I'm trying to remember if it was Deimos itself. That was it's actually going closer, like an inch to Mars every year. Study authors state that the only possible explanation behind Deimos' tilted orbit is for Mars to have had a ring billions of years ago. Study lead author Matasha, I'm not even sure how I'm pronouncing that even right, that the fact that Deimos' orbit is not exactly in plane with Mars' equator, or equatorial region, I was going to say, was never considered important enough for an explanation. But once we had a big new idea and we looked at it with new eyes, Deimos' orbit's tilt revealed its big secret. So I'm not sure about all that, but I mean, the way they were talking, like, okay, what about Phobos then? Did that change too? And you can go down here. It says that the newborn moon would move away from the ring of Mars, according to the study. According to study authors, this is the opposite direction of the inward spiral of Phobos. Okay, so it's Phobos that's actually going in. Okay, which is happening due to its gravitational interaction with the red planet. An outward migration moon just outside the rings can encounter a so-called orbit renaissance, in which Deimos' orbit period is 3 times that of the other moons, says study authors. So, pretty interesting, too. Find that pretty interesting. Nathan Bond says, hi, Chris. Hi, everyone. What's going on, Nathan? Pete Ferrero said Leonardo da Vinci drew strange alien-looking people after disappearing in a cave for a year. Well, I mean, look at the old, like, these old, like in these old churches kind of thing. You got these giant pictures and stuff of paintings where it looks like it shows some kind of UFO up in the air and stuff like that, and people are like looking up at it and stuff like that. They must have seen something to make them want to do that, right? Grant says, I'll be buying some merch soon, Chris. Everyone buy a shirt, please. Well, it does help the channel. And like I said, I like the idea of, like, if I buy something, because I've done this myself, where I'll buy shirts, because I'm not only supporting the channel, but I'm getting something in return. So that's good, Or some people just go, I don't care, I'll just support the channel anyway. But either way works, right? Marcus Peter says, good morning, Chris. Greetings from South Africa. What's going on, Marcus? Good to see you in there. Kyle said, I mean, just the people being abducted alone is enough evidence to prove to yourself that we're not alone in the universe. Plus, you're getting cows abducted. You're getting video recordings from the Navy. Yeah, but you notice how they said that, this could be actual military craft now. Think about it. It's like they don't want to let the cat out of the bag. It's like, and, I don't know why they don't just come out and say it. I mean, there's so many people seeing these things. Now, don't get me wrong. There's a lot of hoaxers out there, and they're using their little drones, and they're attaching like a frame to it, and they're putting lights on it, and they're blinking, and, just to try to fool the public to get their 5 minutes of fame, But then there's the real stuff, like in Las Vegas and all kinds of places like that, everywhere around the world, around these nuclear sites and different places. Just crazy stuff. Wild Mountain Bear, you said, if I could go to Mars, I would explore the caves. That is where you would most likely find evidence of past or present life. And that's true. I mean, you can have a whole ecosystem in there too, right? Excuse me. You could very well have that. It's shelter from radiation, storm winds, anything like that. And you could still have the sun shining inside there in order to get plants to grow and stuff like that. And like I said, it can have its own ecosystem in there. So, absolutely. Phil Cox with daughters Jessica and Kelsey Brown. What's going on, Phil? Good to see you. And he said, hi, Chris. Hi, everyone. Hope you're all well. And thank you to the subs who watched and commented on Jess and Kelsey's video and making them smile. Yeah, by the way, I went over to your channel and also looked at some of those really good videos, man. Because I remember, I think you had suggested this last Hangout or the one prior to that. And I decided to bounce over there. I was like, oh, that's awesome. And you should see, I'm actually a sub now. But, yeah, good stuff, man. Core says, I would explore where Chris finds stuff. Well, I mean, just about every photo that they've ever taken or shown the public, you can bet there's something in it. People go, there was one guy that was really sarcastic about it. He says, yeah, every photo he looks at, there's something in it. Okay. It's not about me. It's about the rover. Why do they find it important to just look at just a hillside and take a bunch of photos? Think about that a minute. I thought they're supposed to be looking at the ground and the actual composition of the dirt. Why are we looking at hills? Why does that matter? And think about it. They're not there for that. They're there to look at life like that may be building blocks of life in the soil. So why are we, drilling rocks is one thing. Digging up soil in different areas is another thing. But now you're looking at mountains and buttes, supposed. So they find it important to look at these photos for a reason. They're not just going to take random photos because they got nothing better to look at. Come on. If they know, let's assume they know, and it is absolutely a dead planet. In other words, nothing ever lived on it except for maybe plant life way back in the day. And it was oceans, like they said, right? Okay, I'll go with that. If that's true, then they should be going, these sandhills are nothing but blasé. It's nothing there to see. We don't care. Okay, keep drilling and keep doing what we got to do, and that's it. But they're not doing that. They're taking photos of different parts of these areas for a reason. It's important enough for that thing to take photos. And the funny thing about it is that when you look at that, those photos, again, they're on their last motherboard. The first one, like I said, it wasn't, I forget how long it was, but it took a dump within no time. And now they're on the redundant board. So they're not just going to lollygag for no reason. They're taking these photos for a reason. They're trying to take as many photos, whether it be of the ground, their surroundings, or whatever it may be. Whatever photo they're taking, it's of great importance. And if you notice, they're looking at every bit around there. Why? Because I personally believe that they landed, and they know this for a reason. Oh, they know this because they dropped that thing right in the middle of a civilization, some kind of city or whatever, and it's in ruins. And that's what they're there looking at. That's just my opinion, and I'm sure you guys share it. Some guys may differ from it, and that's okay too. But that's my personal opinion. Adam, he said, Chris, $45 to Australia, just deciding on color. Well, color's everything, right? Whatever makes you feel good. Noodles, you said Martian sunshine through 3 inches of water will halt the dangerous UVs. It will do that. And like I said, if they wanted to burrow under the ground, go 10 feet under the ground. You're protected from the cold and the heat. So you're good. They don't need an actual structure on the surface to be able to get away from the actual, they could build something, or not build, actually burrow into the ground and protect themselves. Just come out when they need to. If you dig like 20, 30 feet in the ground, you're not going to feel that negative temperatures at night, especially if you get some kind of latch type thing and keep the constant temperature at a constant, right? Nathan Bond, you're absolutely right. He said, don't think exploring would be a problem on Mars. There's things scattered everywhere. That's a fact. Alien Tano, you said what us humans don't understand is we are seeded from many parts of our solar system, never mind outer space. Think different plants on Earth, all different but the same. Well, yeah, we're all carbon life forms, right? So again, I've always said this. Let's just assume, we basically evolved on this planet, and that was it. Okay, even if you would go with that, we're all carbon-based, but carbon is throughout the universe. So you have to ask yourself, if that's true, and it's supposed that it was the Big Bang, or this universe has always been here, and they're just that's their latest theory. Because again, we get this red drift, and we get the planets actually moving away. The galaxy is moving away from one point. So if they did have a Big Bang, or for whatever reason it is, okay, so it still exploded. What we are has been exploded through the universe. And people are having a problem thinking there could be possible life on other planets? How are they having this malfunction? Come on. Steve Pelly said all of Mars is ruins, no matter where they drop the scientific instrument. Pretty much. And like I said, they knew where they were dropping these things, man. This is the reason why they had orbiters. They had the Viking lander and the orbiters, right? They took pictures, many pictures, and they sat there, just orbit, snap, 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 take these pictures, and then they just went, hey, guess where we're landing? It's no secret. It's no, they didn't just go, throw a dot and that's where we're going. No, they knew exactly where they're going to land these things, and they did it for a reason. Kyle, he said it was an ancient extraterrestrial battle that happened probably about 6,000 years ago. Yeah, I heard something around them lines too, and it wouldn't surprise me. Like I said, a lot of ancient civilizations talk about that. The Mahabharata from India, they talk about great space or the great cities in the sky battling. Weapons brighter than the sun, so on and so forth. Were they sci-fi writers back in the day, or did they find it, very important to actually document this? I would say that, again, it's not like, it's just like an everyday occurrence. Oh, look, a thunderstorm. Now, even though they didn't understand what lightning was, okay, it's just another storm. They knew it was constant, so they probably didn't make a big deal of it. They never drew about it, never wrote about it. But then, why did they feel the need to have to write this in Sanskrit or whatever it might have been? And they, because a lot of different ancient civilizations wrote in different ways, right? So why did they feel pertinent to say, listen, we need to, write the story, document it, and there you go. It's got to be a reason. It's not like they were watching TV and said, hey, we make up our own little movie. I'm in Gagna, 68. What's going on? He said Chris, Mars was full of life at one time, and whoever destroys Mars, they must be a good reason. Damn. Hope it wasn't the same reason we might get annihilated one day. Dale Rogers, what's going on? Dale, you said, wow, the likes jammed out. Oh, yeah. Well, we still got 121 watching, 100 thumbs up. Come on, guys, nail it. Bam. Kylie said it's actually true because it was written in caves in Australia. It was all over the world. They've done this. Kylie said they did lock it down, Chris, in the caves of Australia. Yeah, I'm not even surprised in the least bit. Again, they found this very important for them to actually document this, no matter how it looks. I mean, it could be just a drawing on a rock. You see like these stick people that look like they got helmets on. You see like this round disc behind them. What were they actually trying to show? They found it important to do that. There's a reason. James, again, thank you for your support, man. He said a cloth for the doubters' glasses, Chris. Well, yeah. Yeah, exactly. Oh, you'll have that. You know what I mean? Yeah, what was that area they just said, just recently, they said they found the actual area where Atlantis is true, where they had found it again. I'm trying to remember where it was at. I just saw a glance of it. Somebody had it on one of the Facebook pages, and they said they had seen that. Robert, an important note, if they can consume human flesh, then you want to reach some toxicity, I guess it would be level, whiskey, and keep it coming. That'll do it. They'll get drunk off you after they eat you, right? Phil Cox, you said the thing is we as humans have a biased view on what life should look like and how it should exist. They could look like anything and live anywhere. Absolutely. Now, I've said this. It would be foolish to say, and I even said this myself years ago. I'm saying to myself, oh my God, I wonder if they look like us, and I wonder if they, we have no idea. They could be very close to us, could look exactly like us, or totally different. Maybe they're just smart creatures on another planet. Who knows? We have no idea. And just because people say, well, a gaseous planet, okay, at some point, that gaseous planet has to have a core to it. That's what's keeping the gaseous or that mass, well, not a mass per se, but the gases and everything else around it. So it has to be pulling it in, or at least keep it in this bowl kind of shape. So it has to have some kind of core, so therefore it must have a surface. Okay? Now, you have all of these other planets where they're cold, super hot, doesn't matter. Life as we know it can exist on other planets in different ways. Could take in different gases. We don't know. We think we know. Only these space agencies who've been to these planets already, whether it be landers or whatever, know for sure, right? Can you imagine that? Just landing a craft on a certain planet. Let's say it was Mars, when they first put the Viking on them, was it in 1975, 1976? Landed it down, and you can see birds flying, creatures going across the ground. And they must have went, oh my God, are you kidding me right now? And maybe they see nothing. I find it hard to believe. I think there's something on that planet. We've seen things in photos that look like birds, where you can see a motion blur, like it's flying in a certain direction. I had one guy say, well, that's probably a sand particle. Maybe it's windy. Okay, why am I only seeing one in the whole darn photo then? Come on. Let me see. Yeah, Phil Cox, you said, who's to say they can't live there anywhere is possible? Absolutely. I just automatically think outside the box. Now, even if you think, well, it's a bit over the edge, doesn't really mean that, because we truly don't know. I don't. If anybody's got inside information, let me know, or let us all know, because I don't know. As far as I'm concerned, it could be anything from a small creature. It could be nothing but just, microorganisms, macro, doesn't matter. It's still life as we know it. And it could be, large creatures walking around on a planet that breathe in a certain gas. Who the hell knows? It's not likely they could do it because, us humans couldn't live in there. Okay. It doesn't mean anything. Maybe something from another planet couldn't live on Earth. It's just because of I'm going to call it the ingredients that make up this planet, the gases and everything else. And it's just maybe something they can't survive in, Yes, Mike Hoover, what's going on? You said extremophiles. Absolutely. Yeah, Grant, you're right. The Richat structure fits the description of Atlantis proposed by Plato. Yep. William, yeah, I'm definitely along with you on that. You said I envy the scientists who saw the first pictures of Mars. Yeah, that had to be awesome. Because it's basically like, like just learning to see that for the first time. You just open your eyes and you can just see that. And here's the thing, untouched, no filtering, no nothing. There it is. And to see, like, open your eyes on another planet, even though it's not you, remotely you are. I find it very interesting. I would have loved to have seen that myself. Noodles, you said outside the box. Consider Sasquatch as an alien test chassis. Then there is also a fish squatch. That I haven't heard of before. But you know as well as I do, too. I mean, we can go along them lines and talk about cloning, modifying DNA. This is the reason why every now and then people find some crazy-looking animals out there, or, mammals, or some kind of aquatic life, or whatever. Just some strange, weird stuff that you just go, yeah, what the hell is that, right? I don't know. They've been doing this since, what was it, Dolly, that sheep or whatever it was. I could have the name wrong. But to me, it's just like, if they're doing that back then, they've gone a lot further. I mean, that. And once they clone it and they get it down pat, they can just, okay, let's change the DNA sequence just a hair. And we'll see what happens with that. And, this happened, in the 80s? So clearly they can just do whatever the hell they want. When I say that, I mean they can pretty much modify any DNA. They probably have it down pat by now. Oh, I agree, Marcus. You said if a Martian civilization still exists, NASA has no right to conquer them. Yeah, or exterminate them, right? Yeah. Noodles, you said USOs are in charge of fish squatch files. Huh. I have to check that out. I've never heard of that, to be truthful with you. James, you said, Chris, you got to wonder why a lot of the world leaders and religious leaders have visited the Antarctic, Bill Clinton included. If there is supposed to be nothing but ice there, you're right, what you think. Well, I mean, Buzz went. I mean, these guys, they're going there for a reason. It might be just simply a bucket list thing, and I think there's more to it than that. You know what I mean? Because I know there's military stuff up there, but, it's not like it's, there's certain areas that are cordoned off where you can't go, right? And then, of course, you can go there as, on a field trip, or not a field trip, but an actual trip there. You can go and go on ships and see the whales and all kinds of stuff. And so you can go on actual, cruises and stuff up there. People are like, oh, no, you can't go to Antarctica. Yeah, you can. 100% you can go. But there's areas that are completely, you can't fly over. It's, that's it. It's a no-go zone kind of thing. Yeah. So I think there's much more going on in Antarctica. Because think about it. Who the hell can see it? Who can literally go up there? It's not like the Hawaiian Islands where you can fly over all day long. They're literally, you can't fly there, most of the time, or at least some areas. So to me, they could be doing anything up there, and you'd be none the wiser. None of us would. Jerry, you said someone on this channel works for NASA. Please release a secret of Mars photo. Yeah, it would be nice. And, I think you guys had asked me before, what would happen if somebody actually gave you a real photo of Mars? Well, probably have to change my drawers first, but then I would look at this thing and go, okay, how do I know this is actually real? But if it's something you've never saw before, and you clearly have the photo analyzed and it's not CGI'd, and you can kind of vet the thing that it's the real deal, then you got to ask, okay, where did this guy get this? And if it's real, well then, and it's showing like that would be just mind blowing. They show like structures like, some are still there and a lot of them are crumbled and everything to the ground and stuff. And it's like the real deal. Wow. I would show it. Of course, I'd wait for like a real big audience. Get everybody you can. This is going to be, you're going to want to see this before. And the reason why I say that is because at some point, if you went to go show it, that it'd be taken down. So you'd want as many people as you could to actually get on board with it. And a lot of people can record their own screen. So you go, okay, hit record. Here it is, guys. Boom. So now if it gets taken off, everybody's got it. Doesn't matter, right? So, yeah, I would definitely do that. Oh, I see what you're saying there. And this thing jumped on me again, of course. That's wonderful. Let me go back. I went too far up here. Alien Tenno, you said, think of it this way. Say you live in a nice, flush forest and then go into a barren desert. Isn't that like visiting an alien world? By the way, that's Earth. Well, I mean, I wouldn't consider it an alien world because it's just clearly, you're going from, one area that's nice and, plush type thing, like you're saying, water and everything. All of a sudden, well, it's like a desert. You walk into a desert. Okay, clearly I'm not in the right spot. But if you would go to a planet that they claimed was nothing but barren, and you go there and there's lakes there, maybe its own particular, organics, small trees that's only indigenous to Mars, and then maybe little creatures running around or whatever, things that would eat you when you're not looking, or not. But it would be mind blowing in that aspect because you're saying, wait a minute, they said there's nothing here, yet I'm seeing all kinds of things that are relatively close to the things we see here on Earth. So what's going on? That would be the mind blowing part. All right, Noodles, yeah, you said, Chris, I just extended the Sasquatch alien hybrid theme to include the USOs. What are those guys like? Octopus. True. Oh, less sweet. Yeah, absolutely. He said Google Earth Antarctica is useless. Yeah, it's all blocked out. I mean, it's crap. You can see certain areas, and then look at some areas. They're like, completely blocked, literally blocked out. Marcus Peters, you said, is there any truth to the hollow Earth theory? Well, they had a pilot that claimed he actually flew into that area where parts of the Antarctic, once you go over these mountain ranges and stuff like that, it's all like greenery, and it's like, what's the word I want to use? Like, it's like, I don't know it's like, what do you call it? It's just really nice. And it's warm there. It's got trees, waterfalls, and everything else. How true that is, I don't know. But when you say hollow Earth, I mean, we got caverns and stuff like that. It would literally, you can put a town inside. So is Earth itself hollow? Well, no, because there's a core there. But now I believe there's a lot of underground caverns. There's also caverns underneath the deepest oceans. This is the reason why you get these underwater flying objects. Or these crafts that can go into the ocean. They probably come back up, and it's complete city under there. Of course, it's all speculation. But these giant caves, you can almost put like small towns into. I mean, how do we know there's not people building inside these things? How do we know? Tim Hughes and Sasquatch can emit strange sounds and smells. Yeah, some people say when they actually smell them things, they smell horrible. Can't tell you I got firsthand of that, but yeah. Bye-bye, Billy. Anybody who doesn't believe we've been to space is a sheeple. Let's put it that way. Still stuck in their ways. The Earth is flat. Whatever. Take a hike with that BS. Pete Ferrero. Mothman, anyone? Strange story. Actually been there. It's right here in West Virginia. Been there. Actually stood right there on the actual Mothman statue. Yeah, I got rid of Billy Grant. So, nice subtle heads up. Kyle, you said that's why they call him Skunk Ape, because he stinks like a skunk. Kyle, you said, imagine having a body completely covered with long hair and sweating and never taking a bath and you would stink really bad, especially if you was big. Well, yeah, that'd be bad. James, you said Chris Linden Moulton Howe has a great interview with a pilot who was out in the Antarctic flying with the military and had to take different flight paths one day, and what he said was unbelievable. I think I remember that one. It was actually pretty good. Yep. That's a good movie there, Noodles. The Thing. Talking about the original or the new one? Either way, it's pretty good, right? I do, Bardur M. You said, Chris, do you watch the high-rise photos? I do actually occasionally look at those. Those are pretty interesting. Now, Jean Ward does a lot of that. He does like a lot of satellite photos. So if you're not familiar with Jean Ward, check his channel. That's what it is, Jean Ward. He's got some really good stuff there. He does all basically satellite photos, looking down, obviously, on Mars. And does really good. Sees a lot of monolithic-looking blocks and stuff laying on the ground. Really cool anomalies. Check a lot of his stuff. It's good because he does them kind of things, and then people like us, I do like on the ground, on the surface photos, so pretty cool stuff. Kyle, you said, yeah, and they are trained pilots. They can't tell the difference from a helicopter and a Cessna. And they did not see a helicopter. It was glowing disc. Hey, Dean, what's going on? Dean Sadler says, hi, Chris. Your last vid was cool. Martian dog looked like a little guy. Yeah, I said that. Remember, I was kidding around. I said, look at that. It looks like a Martian dog. That one there was pretty interesting, and a lot of people seen it because, again, it looked like these two front legs, and it looked like a head like kind of turned to the side. At least that's the way it looked on my monitor. Not saying it's true, but because it's really hard to see the details in this, but I was kind of throwing that idea out there. And a lot of people, and one guy says, he didn't even see that thing look like a Martian dog. I said, well, clearly you didn't watch the whole video through, because I did say that. Let's see. Tim, you said a lady in Florida posted a couple of photos of a supposed skunk ape that was in her backyard in Mimi. Okay. They are really clear. Jonathan, which one are you talking about? You said, what was the guy's name again, Chris? Oh, Jean Ward, yeah. Lionheart Glassworks, good to see you in there. He said, Jean Ward is awesome. It's Skyview. He finds Unreal. Yeah, all right, yeah, because he's actually got the Skyview thing, too. But he'll do some of the things that are, like the high rise from the high rise and stuff like that. But he's got it right there, and you can see it. Jean Ward. Good guy. He does a lot of great, he's got a lot of great videos, a lot of things that are just, even if you go, well, that's a boulder there, but then when he shows something else, you go, well, clearly that looks like it's, like intentionally placed on top of this boulder or a megalithic stone or something. Just crazy, right? Grant, you said, on a more serious note, Chris, there's a long scar across the equator on Mars, natural or man-made in your opinion. Hold on. Oops. I hate it when this crap does this. I literally go to move this thing and it'll jump way down. I gotta find this thing again. That's probably why it does every time somebody, supports the channel. Jerry, thank you very much for your support. You said, come on, people. This is better than going to the movies on a Friday night. Let's donate to Chris's channel. Thanks. Thank you, Chris. Keep it up. I appreciate it there, Jerry. Thank you for support again. Let me see. Well, to answer your question, I think that is actually, some people say it was caused by like this huge lightning storm by another planet that was going by, and it caused that trench. Basically, they call it, what the heck did they call that thing at one time? It was kind of jokingly, they called it, I'm not going to remember the name of it now. But anyway, it's this wide, you can stick the United States from, East Coast to West Coast in it, right? So It was pretty funny. But I believe it's natural. Kind of like we got the Grand Canyon, right? That was eroded by water at some point, and some people think it was, electrical scars from another planet, close by. Let's see. Noodles, you said John Ward posted a few good videos this week. I'm not surprised. I haven't seen his latest stuff, but I'm going to check it out. Alien Tenno, yeah, I believe they could actually mess the planet up more. I believe they could. Well, especially if they're going to nuke it. That's ridiculous. Oh, we want to make more. We want to make sure there's more carbon on the planet. I don't know. 95 point something percent is pretty darn high carbon. I mean, how much more do you need? And I believe you're talking about the Valles Marineris, that whole scar there on Mars. I believe that's what you're talking about. But again, you can stick the United States from East Coast to West Coast. It's about the width of it. I don't believe that was done by electrical. I think it was just either a Mars quake opened up the ground, erosion, could have been anything, because they said the ocean was larger than on Mars than it was here on Earth, the oceans we have. So that may be what done it, right? Anybody else got any theories on that? James, you said, Chris, did you see the program about Armstrong going to the South American jungle looking for the books made from lead or gold that is supposed to tell the history of mankind? It's very good. No, I haven't seen that, James. Yeah, believe it or not, Lionheart Glassworks, you said, I wonder if Jean Ward is shadow blocked. His research is great, but he has a few followers. Well, I mean, there was myself as well as Joe from Art Alien TV. We kind of got him extra subs because, again, I don't know if you guys are familiar with this, but if you don't have at least 1,000 subscribers and I think it's 4,000 hours of views, YouTube doesn't even recognize you. You're nothing. You're a plebe. So I did my best. I said, let's get him some more subscribers, boost him up, get him up there. I think he deserves it. I think he deserves many more subscribers, to be truthful with you. That's why I always tell everybody every now and then, jump on his channel if you get a chance, because he does great content. And I'll back a channel. Anybody who's doing honest work, I back a channel like that. So he's a good guy too. But I think, it might be happening. But right now, for some reason, there's not many views on a lot of channels. I mean, there's a lot of channels I watch, and a lot of people's views have dropped. So I don't know if it's due to this COVID going on or whatever, and people are just not, and maybe they're more paranoid about, losing their house or car, which makes sense, than watching videos. There's less views. I've noticed, even gains on, subscribers is not as accelerated. In other words, people are not getting as many or faster. It's hard to tell what the reason is, right? That's why I said if YouTube is going to put a stick in the spokes as far as showing, our suggested videos, our videos in the suggested box, then we ourselves have to spread the word, right? If everybody's instrumental in doing that, we can get it out. Get more people on here, especially on these Hangouts, bigger discussions. I like it, Martin Lucas, you said, hey guys, haven't commented in a while. Just thought I'd pop in and say hi. Well, I appreciate that, Martin. I'm glad you did stop by. Lionheart, you also said grateful for your videos and chats. Thank you. Well, I appreciate that, and I appreciate you being here. Kyle said, I love this channel, Mars Anomalies and Beyond, and Lunar Anomalies and Beyond rock. Thanks, brother. Appreciate that. Alien Tenno, that's a good one. I mean, unless you want to sit there and count them. But he said, look at the moon and Mars, tell me which has the most craters, and tell me the difference. Well, I would believe that the moon, as small as it is, has more craters than Mars. However, if you look at the moon or Mars, the planet is completely like been battered, just like the moon has. So yeah, it'd be a rough guesstimate of which one's got more, right? Bush Corey, I didn't even see you sneak in there. When'd you get in there? No, there you are. When you first jump in, you say, hey, Chris and gang, sorry I'm late, but I'm here. Woohoo, busy at work. Yeah, I hear that. I know that feeling. Alien. Chris, the commies are coming after all of us. Yeah, I wouldn't worry about it too much, but yeah, you know. Raquel Jelston just jumped in there as well. Hello, Chris, and hi, everyone. A bit late, sorry. Hope I haven't missed too much. Now, we're doing a lot of discussions here and there. You can jump right in there, as always. No, I wouldn't say that, Phil. You're not a flea. The idea is you're just starting out, right? And I would suggest anybody that wants to jump on Phil Cox videos, yeah, check his stuff out, too. More family-oriented, which I like. Good stuff. Jerry McDonald, what's going on? Good to see you. And he said, hey, Big Chris. Hey, community. What's happening? Okay, Grant, you were talking about it. Okay. He said, yes, Valles Marineris, if created by warfare, this could be causes Mars destruction. Yeah, absolutely. If it was that large of a storm, like a war, whatever it might have been that caused the destruction, absolutely. I mean, how do we know it wasn't a giant Mars quake? I mean, it just, it would be, it would dominate everything on the side of it, meaning it would literally, decimate any cities or towns or next to it, because look how large it is, right? But yeah, I mean, it's anyone's guess. It could be simple as erosion, water erosion. I don't know. But it seems that at least the photos, they look like very sharp. You see the way it is, it's laid out, and you look and it's like really sharp kind of thing. So I don't know. It's anyone's guess anyway. James, you said, again, thanks for the support. You said, yeah, Chris, and the depths are the same, the moon. Well, see, that's the weird thing. I don't know what it is like on Mars because you don't see a whole lot of craters there. At least they don't show them in the photos, right? Now, when you look at the moon, like I said, just picture a nice, perfectly sphere, like a ball. And it's almost like somebody took the model and they stuck it there and they just went, okay, I'm going to build up these little walls and I'm going to make them look like craters. And I was going to put it all over the smooth ball and look like, in other words, put a texture on the outside of this super smooth ball and then just build up walls and it makes it look like craters. Well, why is every crater, I don't care if it's a mile wide or 20 feet wide, they're all the same depth. At least most of them, or the majority is. How is that possible? Doesn't make much sense. You would think the larger ones would be a whole lot deeper. I mean, to the point where you're going to drop a city in it. You know what I mean? And you don't see that. Look at the real good photos from the LRO. And you see exactly what I'm talking about. You just go, yeah, how is that damn possible? That doesn't even make any sense. Alien Tenno, thank you again for your support as well. Strange thing is, the moon has more Doppler craters. Well, that may be true, but again, like I said, I mean, when you look at these things, like I said, I've always been amazed by that, like you're saying too. When I look at it, I go, okay, there's a small crater. And there's a large one. I mean, they literally could be right next to it. Again, this one's like 100 feet wide or a mile wide, and this one here is, let's say, a quarter mile wide. They're the same damn depth. And then when you look at the very large craters, there's nothing in the middle of it, like an impact, something impacted there, right? Now, some people say, well, it's because of old, when it was volcanic on the moon, and you had like lava bubbling up. And when it bubbled up, it just, and that's a very good possibility. This is the reason why there's nothing in the center of it. But man, are you kidding me? Wow. You know how big that would have to be to do that? But maybe when the moon was forming and it was cooling, maybe that's what it did. And this is the reason why you don't see nothing in the center of the craters. Very good possibility, and it's very scientific. Makes sense. It's a very good possibility. But some of the things, it just doesn't make sense on that moon, especially to some of the crazy things we found in it, right? Philip Wellington, what's going on, man? Good to see you in there. Martin, you said I'm just waiting for the rogue alien just to land somewhere, but on more serious note, why hasn't, or haven't rather, we had more contact? It would be real easy for alien race to let us know they're around. I think we are seeing that. I think we're seeing those, the fast radio bursts, the FRBs. I think that's communication. And I think they're just now discovering that. Again, they're seeing it flashing from all over the universe, and we're picking this up now, and we know exactly which frequency to find it on. And although they're only milliseconds long, but they're light signals. So, again, how much information could be put in that light, that big burst of light? Could be ungodly amounts of data and information in there. Now, it may be nothing. It's just something way off in a quasar, or, a nebula, or whatever the hell it may be. I don't believe that's what the case is, because now they know where to find them, and they're staying right there to point at the skies, and of course they got other radio telescopes in different parts of the sky now too. And there's so many other countries getting in on it. If it's not a big deal, why is everybody spending millions upon millions of dollars to build these radio telescopes and a whole fleet of these things, a whole large area full of them, to make one large radio telescope, and they can track in the same way? So, it makes you wonder. Are they just getting the word around? Yeah, man, there's just definitely stuff going out there in space, and we're getting signals and so on and so forth. I don't know. That would be interesting, Mimi. He said, I can't wait for the drone to fly into an alien, a Martian home. Yeah, I mean, like I said, to me, again, they claim that it's going to help the rover navigate. I don't believe that's the case, man. I really don't. I think it's a bunch of crap. I think it's just going to go up where it can get into or up and around objects where the rover cannot go. So it saved the rover from getting into trouble, right? So if they can fly up and above it or into something, come back out. I think they said it's either 7 or 11 minutes of flight. I think it was either or. And but still, you can go up quite high and into something, navigate around. If it's autonomous as well, fly back out and then come back down and basically land on the deck of the rover, or just land on the ground, recharge its batteries, off it goes again. Now, there has to be more sunlight on that planet too, or at least the equivalent. I've said this before, at least equivalent to Earth. Now, people say, well, it can't be because it's further away. Well, it may be further away, but it's also has little to no atmosphere, so there's nothing really to filter it out. So you're going to probably get just as much sunlight as you do here on Earth. Now, is that true? I can't vet that. But if that's true, it has to be in a certain way, because they're only having these little solar panels. From what I understood, it was kind of like how I first heard it was going to be like wireless charging on your phones. Remember that? You get the little pads, you can just put these on. It's wireless charging. And I thought that the way that was going to be on that rover, but now they're saying, if you look at the rover itself, it looks like it has these little solar panels right above the rotors. What? I mean, can that thing really charge that well with that little bit of it? Or has it got a different power source? I would think that thing would just land right on the deck, charge up, and fly back off. It would make more sense to me, but what do I know? I'm not a technician. Martin, you said we don't take any care, rather, when walking in the woods and disturb wildlife, so why wouldn't aliens do the same? Well, they don't. Well, the thing is, yeah, I understand what you're saying, but I mean, they are coming to a whole planet as opposed to just walking through the woods, right? So they know what we are, where we are on the planet. Many people speculated they'd probably kill us off, and I don't think that's the case. They're just coming here. It's like us. If we went to another planet right now, we flew to it, and it's just simply an orbiter, then we're going to investigate. We're going to look at them, so on and so forth. Let's say they don't have any, technology to be out and, orbiting out on their own planet. Well, they probably wouldn't even recognize this thing going around their planet. We could just sit there and study them and everything else. That would be exciting. That would be awesome. Now, who knows if they haven't already, right? Yep, David Clark. Yep, prime directive. Do not mess around with the evolution of that planet or their what they plan to do. Basically don't involve yourself with their life, or don't interrupt their life or screw it up somehow. Kyle, he said the moon was placed just for Earth. Without the moon, we would not be able to live on Earth. However, there was a time when the ancient says there was no moon. So apparently the moon has a bearing on life, of course, has everything to do with it because, being that we're mostly made up of water, so isn't the planet. Of course, you have the push and pull of, the tidal waves or the actual ocean, and it can affect you as well. But there was a time before, without the moon, and yet they still lived. So at least that's the stories. Steve Pell, that's a good smart move. David's a good guy. You said you just subbed to Mars X3D, the Evidence channel. Yeah, he just done like a small, one of my finds on his channel. It was his 50th episode, and there was other finds from other anomaly hunters too. David does a great job. I met him in person, good friend of mine. So yeah, anybody wants to jump over to Mars X3D, do that. It's a really good channel. David's awesome, real laid back kind of guy, and really does a good job of explaining what he sees. He's honest about the anomalies. Another great channel if you guys ever want to hop over to that as well. Let me see here. Let me see. I'll even give you guys a link to it. Really good channel. I would encourage everybody to jump on over there. It's good channel. There's the link there. I'm going to drop it right now. You guys can bookmark it, put it in another tab. Check his workout. He's just got he's only got a little over 1,000. It's like 1,300 subscribers, pretty close to it. Really good stuff. And like I said, he's up to episode 51. So according to this, is about a week ago. Like I said, he featured one of my finds in there. But like I said, very nice guy, real laid back, knows his stuff. Him and Jimmy have, the real Jimmy Roberts have gotten together and made it easy for you to look at pictures in 3D. And they've worked together in this. So really good stuff. Check the channel out. I think you guys will love it. And make the screen bigger now because now. All right. Well, it's actually the Moroni mechanism, Phil. He called it the Maloney. Yeah, he called it the Moroni, what do you call it, mechanism. But yeah, that's the one that looked like that weird little prop type thing or some kind of, has a hand on it. And it looks like this little engine prop or some kind of weird thing on there. Really, really cool. Good stuff. Like I said, he's got a lot of stuff he actually presents on his channel, which is really good. Jonathan Waddell, you said the time before the moon. Absolutely. Susan Ann's in the house. She says, good morning, awesome people. Great to catch you live, Chris. Well, good. I'm glad you're here, Susan. As always. I don't know. It's doable. Noodles, you said rover fires laser to charge flyer. Could be. Very good possibility. Maybe it's just, because light is energy, right? I don't know. I just find it hard to believe. Like I said, the cop is pretty big. It's not this little toy, right? It's not this little drone. This thing is pretty darn big. I've done a video on it and showed you guys I had it in a test cell where they had this thing flown. And what they did is they duplicated the actual Martian atmosphere, the pressure and everything else. And what they did was they flew this thing. At first, it was wouldn't take off very good. Then they readjusted, and next thing you know, zzz, this thing's flying along. And I forget what it is. It's like 8,000 RPMs on the props. I forget what it was now. But they had to use X amount of speed to get the thing off the ground. And I've featured it a couple times. They had an animation video. So I'll be curious to see how that thing works out. I really will. Martin, you said, but we have an understanding about life and the possibility of extraterrestrial life, so we could we could comprehend if an alien race made contact. I personally think religion is holding us back. I think it's holding the whole planet back. I think anything that separates us, divides us, basically divide and conquer. Yeah, that's impeding. It's impeding us, moving forward. That's exactly what it's doing. James, you said, that's right, Chris. Ancient tribes spoke about the moon being brought to the sky by the sky people to keep an eye on us. Yeah, I heard something along them lines as well. They said that it was actually brought here. So, and that the moon is some kind of craft type thing where they live inside the moon or whatever. I can't vet that. I don't know. But what I did see is the stuff on the surface of this planet, on this moon. I'm thinking Earth and then to the moon. But that it's just mind-blowing, some of the things. In fact, somebody dropped a comment on one of my earlier videos where it looked like it had this like transport. It's like this oval and this real long kind of container type thing sitting right on the moon. And it was right there. You can see that thing. And even when I went back to the raw washed out photo, you could still see the outline in that actual object. So just some of the crazy things you see on there, it's insane. Let's just put it that way. Scott Schmear, you said would have to be a generation type ship like Von Daniken proposes. Yeah. Yep. Well, that could be true, Robert. It's hard to tell, right? On your statement, as I stated once in the troll dialogue in the fog, utterly brain dead, where creatures rise a theory of Homo trigon, and who hired Homo sapiens to wipe out the Neanderthal. Well, I mean, the way they talk about it, the ancient Sumerians, that they actually intertwined their DNA with the Homo sapien, right? Or the Neanderthal at the time, and made us what we are today. This is the reason why we had huge leaps and bound jumps as far as brain mass and, how we've come so far in technology and everything else. And no other creature on Earth has done that. Only human has. So they think they had a hand in that, and that's, what the Sumerians write about anyway, right? Steve Pell, you said the drone should be able to maneuver easily on the Martian skies. I think so. I don't think there'll be an issue with it. But, they might take a couple good pictures and then go, yeah, we don't want to show these guys anything else, so why don't we just say it crashed? It's not what we thought it would do, and it slammed into the mountain or just dropped out of the sky, and just that's it. We can't get it to fly again. And then they'll just keep doing reconnaissance and flying that thing around and everything else. That's what I'm afraid is going to happen. Mimi React says, it's late here. I jumped into my bed. Thanks for streaming, Chris. Sleep well, guys, and stay safe. You do the same, Mimi. Good to have you in there. You and the family stay safe and try to stay away from all these people that have this COVID crap. just be safe. James, you said, Chris, the moon is perfectly shaped and is perfectly positioned from Earth and the sun. And that is how we get that lunar eclipse. Some people think it is by a fluke. Yeah, right. Well, they say that, yeah, it's like it's so perfect. There's something about the moon that everything about it, like you said, perfect distance. It's perfectly locked. It gives us, controls the oceans, and it's just right perfectly. And, yeah, I don't think that's the case, And there you go, Phil. Photography Light Magic, I'm sorry. What we can do is wait until you get 1 million subs and we can all chuck in a dollar and get Elon Musk to make us a craft and go to Mars and take real photos. F NASA. Yeah, I totally agree with you there. It'd be something if you could do that, right? And F COVID. Yeah, I agree with you. I don't know about you guys. I'm so over it. It's unreal. Yeah, Steve, yeah. Yep, drone doing too good of a job. Work. LOL. Yeah. So I'm afraid that's going to happen. It may not, but let's just hope it doesn't. And they don't go, oh, yeah, we thought this thing would fly, and clearly it didn't. We went to go take off, and it just died right there. Phil Wellington, you said, see you all in the future. Bye for now. Well, thank you, Philip, for stopping in. I do appreciate that. Yeah, Andrew Finlay, he said the camera is 10 megapixels. Wait and see what crap they put up. And something tells me, listen, I can almost guarantee that just a camera on Curiosity was probably bigger than 10 megapixels, but they claim it was only 2. Okay. But that doesn't mean all the cameras are. I mean, they could have had a camera on there that was like 20, 30. I mean, we're talking about 2012 here now, right? We're not talking about some piece of garbage that was made, even the 70s had better than that. In the 60s, in the Apollo missions, right? Even though they weren't digital. But the point is, it's like, me personally, I'm going, wait a minute. You know darn well these pictures were a lot bigger than this. And, whether they were compressed and then brought to Earth and then, of course, decompressed, they were much bigger than that. And I think it'll be much bigger than 10 megapixels on this 2020 rover. I think it'll be much bigger than that. Why put a piece of crap on there? If you want to see great detail, right? Wouldn't you want to put the biggest camera you can possibly put on? How much does a camera weigh? Think about this. Now they might say, well, it's not about how big it is. It's about the data rate. Okay, so what? If they got quantum communications, this is like seconds, man. This ain't minutes. This is seconds. This is like, boom. It's like a laser shot to Earth. Done within minutes, not hours. Or I wouldn't say hours, but minutes. We're talking about seconds here. Whole lot, different. And the data that can be shot back to Earth. I mean, how do we know they're not using laser light to actually send this information? But we don't know that. They're not going to tell you that if they did anyway. Exactly, Steve. I was just saying that. It should be at 40 megapixels by now. Not exactly sure what you're saying there, Robert, but you said might sound moronic. Would you walk if you could drive? Would you drive if you could fly? Would you fly if you could teleport? Some logic should include that the teleportation would require 8 units. 8 units? I agree with you, Kyle. You say, why would you put a crappy camera on a multi-billion-dollar rover and the thing costs $1 billion? But you have to have that, or have the best damn freaking camera in the world on that thing. Well, that's what I was said. Even the Viking orbiter or the landers, they would put the best stuff they can find there. And I said this before, I still find it hard to believe they didn't put airs on any of these things at the time either. Any of these things. Lander, rovers, I don't care what it is. Like when they put the Sojourner on there, it's a very small rover. And according to it, it got stuck on these rocks and couldn't get off. It's much smaller than the Curiosity, even the Opportunity and Spirits, right? Okay, but still, if they got to land there and drove a little bit, well, it's got eyes on there. I'm sure it took pictures. Maybe it did not. But you could bet at least had some kind of, microphone. Like I said, an audio byte is going to be a whole lot less data than a video. So wouldn't it seem a little odd that they wouldn't put at least a set of ears on the Viking lander? It makes no sense to me. It can send back pictures, but we can't send an audio byte. I just don't believe that. Because you're talking about this is after the Apollo missions, and yet the Apollo missions can talk back and forth to Earth. Don't get me wrong. It's a lot closer to Earth, no doubt. But still had the technology to be able to do that. So they're just sending radio waves and no video. Because remember, they had video as well as audio on the Apollo missions. So what does that mean? So that means they could have simply just sent a simple radio signal with a simple audio byte. I don't think that would have been too much of a problem. Chronicle of God, good one. Why can't ants get coronavirus? Because they have little antibodies. You're right about that, Scott. Yeah, he said cheap cardboard Kodak throwaway does better. And that's what's sad. I mean, it really is sad. But speaking of which, when we're talking about the moon, check this out. This was asked on... This is Spitfire IX. I'm going to enlarge this in a minute. But what it says is... I'm going to go ahead and enlarge this. We can all read this. This is a response It says Spitfire IX. I'm guessing it was a different number, but hello all. I recently received the following email from James Von Allen in response to a request for his comments on the radiation effects of the Van Allen belts. I posted it here as a possible aid to other debunkers. There's a lot of people out there that don't believe. There's people out there that are literally looking at the moon or do a lot of moon stuff and don't believe we went to the moon, which I think is insane, but whatever. I have edited out sections of my original email for length. Professor Von Allen's response is reprinted in its entirety. My request. My question to you, Professor Van Allen, is this. I have read that you have denounced the conspiracy theorist claims that radiation in the Van Allen belts would have killed the astronauts. I've also seen a quote from you about what utter nonsense well, let me make this bigger. There we go. The Fox special was. Could you please, if possible, point me to the sources in print or on the web where you can have been extensively quoted? If there are none that you know of and wouldn't be too much trouble, I would appreciate if you could reply with a brief statement on the subject. In all my recent studies about the moon conspiracy theories, the cornerstone of most arguments appears to be that the radiation is what makes interplanetary space travel impossible. I feel that there is no person better qualified to debunk this absurd claim, and no one more likely to be taken serious than you. Of course, some conspiracists will say that you are on the conspiracy yourself, but we can never hope actually to convince them. And of course, his response is this: Dear Mr. Lambert, in reply to your email, I send you the following copy of response that I wrote to another inquiry about 2 months ago. And I can't blame the guy. The guy's probably thinking, you know what? I'll just make a letter there, and every time somebody bounces this at me, I'll just go ahead and give it to him, right? The radiation belts of Earth do indeed pose important constraints on the safety of human space flight. They're very energetic. Tens of thousands of MeV, protons in the inner radiation belt are the most dangerous and most difficult to shield against. Specifically, prolonged flights, i.e. one of the many months' durations of humans or other animals in orbits about the Earth, must be conducted at altitudes less than about 250 miles in order to avoid significant radiation exposure. A person in a cabin of a space shuttle in a circular equatorial orbit in the most intense region of the inner radiation belt at an altitude of 1,000 miles would be subject to a fatal dosage of radiation in about 1 week. However, the outbound and inbound trajectories of the Apollo spacecraft cut through the outer portions of the inner belt, and because of their high speed spent only about 50 minutes in traversing the region and less than 2 hours in traversing in much less penetrating radiation in the outer radiation belt. The resulting radiation exposure from the round trip was less than 1% of fatal dosage, a very minor risk among the far greater other risk of such flights. I made such estimates in the early 1960s and so informed NASA engineers who were planning the Apollo flights. These estimates are still reliable. The recent Fox TV show, which I saw, is an ingenious and entertaining assemblage of nonsense. The claim that radiation exposure during the Apollo missions would have been fatal to the astronauts is only one example of such nonsense. James A. Van Allen. There you go. Right from the horse's mouth, so to speak, right? So, yeah. And you know what, guys? I've said this before. I even said this. If you go to the North or South Pole, the Van Allen belts are much smaller. In addition to that, depending on the actual, depending on the cycle of the sun at the time, you can have up to 3 radiation belts, not just 2, but 3. But they know this. They can see these radiation belts. They know where they're thinnest, and they know when to go through them. So they plan this, and that's how they did this. So that's why I said, and it's briefly through. I've said this before, long before I even read that kind of stuff. I've seen it before. I've read on this stuff before. So, yeah. It's not rubbish. It's absolutely true. But like I said, there's people out there that do space videos and look at the moon and everything else. Oh, I don't think we ever went. Come on, man. Seriously, stop. Stellar Man, hi from Ireland. Stellar Man also says, love this channel. Well, I appreciate it there, Stellar Man. Robert, he says, night, ye all. I did love the story with the Chinese mummy found on the moon, hoping it was real, because I cry over a CGI Hollywood production like never, right? Could be cool, though. True. Like I said, I'm on the fence about that. The Mona Lisa they found on the moon, supposedly they called her that, right? Well, William, it's not so much, it's harder to hide the video, but it's actually more data rate to upload to an orbiter and then send it directly to Earth, right? So I get that. And back in the day, computing was much slower. But if we were to take into consideration that the military has much better, technology, and let's say back then they were only like 50 to maybe 100 years ahead of us. Okay, they probably had a lot better computing than we'd ever see, because when did the first computer come out for the average person? Think about it. Even in the 80s, the computers were quite large and they were very crude, right? So, but you don't need a whole lot of computing power just to send simple, radio waves. So a simple audio file would have sufficed just quite nicely, right? I don't know. It's a great question, Tim. He said, significant radiation exposure, how much is required to fog film? Well, the thing is, they might have actually had those insulated for that, too. So get the cameras on once you get them to the moon, take them off there. If you notice, a lot of times they weren't, well, I wouldn't say they weren't because they were, but a lot of times you can see it was kind of like dark in some of them areas, and sometimes they were bright in heck, but I think those are because they were overexposed, the photos. So they might have been taking these things, using these cameras when it's like, I'm going to use like dusk on the moon, when it's starting to turn away from the sun, and it still had moonlight. Well, moonlight, get it? They still had reflecting light off the moon, the surface, and plus they had the sun itself. So maybe they did that to have less radiation. Who knows, right? But, I'm sure they had a way, they knew that because they had a way to at least try to insulate it from the radiation, right? Third Eye Open, he said, thank you for showing that. Makes total sense. Well, yeah. A lot of people, there's no way. You can't get through the radiation belts. Well, you got to educate yourself. And like I said, I like to show facts, where a lot of people just say, no, it's not true. And it's like, well, how can you say that? Can you prove to me it doesn't? You can't go through the Van Allen belts. Well, clearly they can. They have. Robert, you said Rover wheels. Don't get me started. Wire tires. The way forward. Metalhead said Armstrong has a deathbed confession. Yeah, exactly. When you see a lot of these guys, they're getting up there in age and stuff like that, it makes you wonder, are they going to actually spill the beans before they pass on or whatever? It'd be nice to actually see that. And some have done this, right? Some of these astronauts have done this, where, they worked hard at it and they talked about space and everything else. And some kind of vague about what they're talking about, but it's like they got to watch out what they say, when they're letting this information out, because it's like, maybe they still have that gag order and they could probably disappear by accident. So, yeah, exactly, Scott. Yeah, you said like Mitchell, yep. Mitchell had it, the way he talked, but he was like on the fringe, like a astrophysicist kind of thing. He worked with a team that was doing a lot of good work. You can look him up, and what he was doing was just insane. I think he absolutely knew. If you read or you watch some of his interviews, he's talking about UFOs and aliens, right? Yeah, exactly. These guys live a full life, and guess what? Went to the moon and back, right? You're right about that, Kyle. Yeah, Kyle, yep. He said, yeah, Neil Armstrong's deathbed confession is that they're lying about what he's seen on the moon. Well, I mean, if you notice, a lot of these guys started talking, like Mitchell was doing, stuff like that. They were like, yeah, there was just things and stuff, out there. And then, of course, they get into a little bit more. And as they got older and older, they start to let out more information. Yeah. I would just go, listen, I'd just make a recording, right? Or several dozen. And then when you pass on, just send them out. Just send them out to everybody. What are they going to do? Kill you? Do it from an unknown source and just give it to the big news places, right? Oh, yeah, you're right about that, Miss Heard. You said most of the Apollo astronauts clearly hint that we are not alone. Very large craft, yep. All right, we got a choice. We can go back and we can look at it's Gigapan time, guys. Won't have to be very long. But we've got the same one we can look at again. I can give you the photo that we looked at right here that I've enhanced. We can look at that or the whole Gigapan. It's up to you guys. A lot of crazy stuff in there. This is what I showed in my last video. Just some of the anomalies in this thing are just like boom, right? Just cool stuff. Oh, yeah, David, yeah. We've talked about that many a times where, you said I always think of the video of their press conference. They're obviously distracted by something. Oh, yeah, they just didn't want to be there, period. So they were just like, we're good. Can we just get out of here now? It's like, well, you guys just sat down kind of thing. It's like, we don't care. We want out. They didn't want anything to do with that. Pete, you said that the entire space program runs on slow. It is as if they already know. Yeah. These guys, listen. They're well ahead of us and know exactly what's up there. And again, send orbiters, see some strange things, send people or a lander. One way or the other. It's either, now, of course, men's been to the moon, and of course we got landers and rovers on Mars, right? But then there'll be man there. So, yeah. James, you said, let's be honest here, man. If in doubt, check Chris's last video. Check out Chris's last video out, I'm sorry. Sit down and shock, because that's not a rock. If it is, it's mock. Oh, what a shock. Thanks again, James, for your support. Yeah, I mean, at first glance, you look at these things, and this is before you enhance this thing. You can still see things on this so-called hillside that are clearly intelligently made. They're not rocks. So it makes you wonder, right? Andrew Finley said the debrief interview with the astronauts when they came back from the moon is all I need to know, that they couldn't tell what they saw. Absolutely. Which is just crazy, man. It's just like when you look at them, they're just like, oh, my God. They're just like sitting there like, oh, my God, kill me. Can you imagine seeing what they see on the moon and then have to sit down and talk to a bunch of people? Your mind is so overwhelmed, and you're still, even though you're back on Earth, you're trying to wrap your mind on it. You cannot. That must have haunted these guys for years on end. Like I said, Buzz, he was like a recluse all of a sudden, and he's not the same guy. If you look at him now, he's totally like weirded out. These guys are like, all these astronauts when they came back, they were completely weirded out. Like they were just like, again, if I'm on the moon, I'm visualizing myself being on the moon and seeing these crazy structures, things that had exploded on the moon. They were there for a reason. It wasn't to do rocks. And then they come back to simple human beings wanting to pick their brain about what they saw. They're like, oh my God, please get me out of this room. They want nothing to do with that. Absolutely nothing to do with it. Tristan Aries. I don't know how you keep working so hard at this. Kudos. Well, I mean, it's a passion of mine. It's something I like to do in the spare time, which became a YouTube channel. And that's pretty much it. It's the simplest way I can put it, right? And Because I just seen too many things being hidden in here. And when I seen it, I said, I got to spread the word on this. People got to know. Phil Cox, you said most of them can remember everything until they get on the moon, and then they have vague memories of what they saw. Well, I don't know if I'd be vague, but I mean, I would be totally like, oh, wow. I don't know how to explain it. You'd be so overwhelmed. You'd be like, think about this. No man has ever seen this stuff. You finally get there and you're seeing this. You're like, wow, this is nothing we've ever put here. This is actually of an alien life form put this stuff here. Who put this there? Nobody on Earth. And this has been here for actually, maybe they somehow could date this stuff. I don't know. Maybe that some of the rocks they brought back was part of these structures. Who knows? Dated it and said, oh my God, these things have been here for how many years? They're not ours. And depending on the size of these things or just the parts or whatever they're laying on the ground, they're totally blown away. Now, picture going back and sitting in front of a bunch of meatheads sitting there going, hey, so how's the moon? Please, I don't want to be bothered with you people. I'm still trying to get my mind wrapped around what the hell I just saw. They don't want to be there. They'd rather kill themselves than be in front of that damn conference room. Are you kidding me right now? Kyle said, I'm in construction. I work around rocks. Those are not rocks. Oh, yeah, definitely not. I'd say 90% of the stuff we're seeing is blown to pieces in parts, right? Pete, you said I spent dinner looking at this video. Yeah, Tim, you said Edgar Mitchell freaked out because he couldn't remember how it felt. Well, I mean, and here's the other thing, just common sense stuff. You would think any astronaut, no, because it's a lot of times, a lot of these debunkers, they'll say, well, come on, they didn't even know whether there's stars out there. Well, let's see. Okay, I'm on the moon. I'm an astronaut. And I'm seeing these spacecraft, maybe these things blown to pieces. Maybe there's a war on the moon. There's structures blown to hell. Maybe there's structures that aren't. Or there's a craft just laying there and not doing anything, and it's not in pieces. Yeah, the last thing I'm going to look at is if there's any stars. I don't care. I really wouldn't give a shit. Why the heck would I care whether there's stars or not when I'm looking at something that's so unfathomable that I'd be like, wow, what is that? They're like, I don't remember. You remember what they said? They're going, you remember seeing any stars? I don't remember seeing any stars. They're not going to remember that. They weren't looking for that. Steve Pelly said Space Force was created for the war in heaven spoken of in Revelation. Well, I mean, I think it's the inevitable anyway, right? They're going to build a Space Force because of either the way they claim it's like for our countries if they try to bomb us. It's like, really? I mean, yeah, I guess you can just bomb anybody from space. It's just move a satellite and just poof, without even have to fly over there. You literally just have an orbiter and just fire on the planet. But it's for much more than that. You can bet it's much more than that. It's not even in Earth. It's outside of Earth. That would be my guess, and I think everybody else would agree on that. William Johnson says, I don't know, Chris. I haven't finished your video yet. You don't want to let the cat out of the bag then. So, again, this is part of the one I just shared. So, just some of the things in here, like, it's just what looks like blocks and stuff that's been blown to pieces. And like I said, this one here is amazing. And like I said, I've done a video on this particular area. You can see this right here. Check this out. Looks like a wall sitting on a hillside. I'm going to go ahead and zoom into this a little more. Right there. You see the blocks. And there's photos of much better view of this. And you can literally see where they've done this. Look at the actual blurring. There's something right there sticking out of this mountainside, if that's even a mountainside, period. But look at this wall. Goes like this and comes straight down like this. Well, it's not straight down, but at an angle. See that? Look at this. Looks like different white frames of things. Pieces blown apart. I didn't show this in the video. And again, we've got this right here. I don't know if I can zoom in any more than that. There's a white piece right here. And, of course, you can see where they blotched it out with this texture. So you can't see it. But look at this. It's round at the very end. And look at the body of this thing. Whatever this thing is, it's actually right here. It's wide. slopes down in the front, and then of course it's all been, I mean, for all we know, this could be trees, right? But I'm saying it's a texture they put over this. But you can literally see a body of this, almost like, now I'm not going to say this is what it is, but picture like a small jet engine, and of course it's a tube. You can see the end of this thing right here. I'm going to put it in the middle of the screen right there. And you can see the very end of this is black, got this tube body to it, and then it goes like this and slopes down in the front, comes to like a point. You can just see the white right there. Right there. And comes back. Look at the parts laying around here, guys. Like I said, the lighter colored things are what you want to see. Not this darker stuff. Look, there's something sticking right out of this hillside, so to speak. Come on. Like I said, darken up the photo. Make everything almost the same color. This way nobody's none the wiser. It's as simple as that. But I've said this before. I've done this video as well. This right here. It looks like a frame of a boat or some kind of structure. Nobody's going to convince me that that's, you know, natural. Nobody's going to do that. Let me see. Guy who said those are ancient ruins and blown up structures, not rocks. Tim, you said Edgar Mitchell freaked out because he couldn't remember, which we already said. James, you said, Chris, man, I really think they got really spooked up there, but let's remember they couldn't reveal what they saw. So I say it broke their souls being in that position. What do you think? Well, yeah, I mean, you know, I can't even imagine what these guys went through. Even if they said, listen, we're going to look at some LRO photos, these lunar reconnaissance orbiter photos, and I want to show you what you guys are going to be doing, where you're going to be at. So unless this thing was really, really low down to the moon's surface, they're not going to be able to see these things perfectly in the front. They're going to see maybe angles and at the top, right? Or at least at the terminator of the moon, it's coming up on, it's filming it, it's recording it or whatever, and they can see these things. But to be in front of these things and saying, you know, they probably gave them a guesstimate. Okay, this thing's, 200 feet tall, 200 feet wide, whatever it may be. But once you get there, you're just like, okay, let's say you could touch this thing and you're like, this is not ours. It's something that is extraterrestrial. We didn't build this. That's enough to freak you out, period. And depending on the size of these things and how creepy they could look, like I said, I've seen what look like spacecraft on this moon, on our own moon, and it gives you this weird, creepy feeling that the moon is really weird. It's like a really creepy place to be. And when you see those on the moon too, because keep in mind, you are how many miles away from Earth when you're on the moon, and you're creeped out at the same time? It's not like you could just run like inside a house and go, I'm scared. You're there on the moon. And you're probably thinking anything's going to come out and kill me any second. So, yeah. William John, you said, wow, look at all that, so much unnatural detail. Yeah, I mean, again, how in the hell does anybody go, look, I said this in the video, straight, looks like cross-section. See this? One, it looks like it's broken in the middle, but you got 1, 2, come down here. There's another one, looks like it's starting, and then you don't see it. But look at this main frame, like in the middle. Okay, then it kind of stops there, but look at this. Right here in the center, again, it's going from these cross members straight up the center. What's the chances of this thing being this wide, this going perfectly up the center? You can almost measure from side to side that this thing's directly in the middle. What's the chances of nature doing that? Come on. Exactly, Michael. Yeah, the whole area looks like a deteriorated ship hull. Exactly. When I looked at these things, again, it continued up here. Got pieces here. Look at the shape of these things, and there's something right directly in the middle of that. What are we looking at? There's something right here. You can see there's something that's white right on this horizon right here over this rock. There's something white right here. You can see it right there, going like this, coming back up, but they just put this blur right over it. You can still see the white through it, right there, right here, but there's something laying right there on the surface. Another white piece here. These are actually a construct, guys. These are not hills. There's something here, and they just made it look like, or, like I said, maybe there's like actual foliage and trees, and it's like in between these things. I said we got this little box type thing right here. You can see where it comes up on each side like an angle, like this here, coming up at an angle, on the left, on the right, and there's a box sitting right on top of that. What are the chances of that? Well, yeah, exactly, James. He said, Chris, check out the comments about this video. We can't all be seeing this. No, it's not mass hysteria. It's not mass pareidolia. You know, if you've seen this, and I challenge any of these scientists, if you've seen this on Earth, you would not think that's natural. But yet on Mars, yeah, that's pareidolia. Swamp gas. Come on. There it is right there. Nobody's going to tell me that's natural. There was another one in the background here, if I can find it. It's almost like faded here. I don't know if that was quite the one. Look at the blurring here. Look at this, guys. Oh, my God. There was another one. I'm almost positive. And it may not be in this because there's another one that has a different angle of this, right? There's something right here. You can see it's white and it's in between this. Look at this. And it looks pretty long, too. See the top of it? I don't know if I can go in any more than this. Yeah, I can. Check out the top of this thing. It's like it's rounded right there. And you can see it's right here, this whole piece. And then you can see the blur they put right over the bottom. So they're making it look like it's a top of like a hill. But when you see this thing, it literally is white. It's actually a rectangular shape. Goes like this. And then you can see parts of it still running on. Right between all that is right here, you can see the white parts of it. Now, what it is, it's anyone's guess. But you can see this thing almost looks like it has a nose cone to it. It actually comes down like this. Comes down like this here. And I'm not going to say it's like it's a bullet train, but it almost looks like it has that characteristic, right? Stuff in the background. Of course, it's all blurry and stuff. It's hard to make out any of that. James, you said, Chris, pan out and see the unreal structures above the mountain or cliff over to the left. I mean, honestly, come on, man. Come on, like. Oh, yeah, absolutely, guys. I see this stuff myself, and I just go, wow, this. Like I said, let's just pan out a little bit. Look at this right here. Look at the way this comes over like this, drops down, comes over to here. And again, there's blatant blurring there. Look at this. They're taking out everything that's on the side of that so you cannot see this. Look at this right here in the middle of the screen. Look at the way this thing looks like almost like a framework at the top of something buried, supposedly buried in the sand. Come on. Here's another part right here. Check this. Check the shape of this out. You can see it coming up like this, going around, coming down, and look at the edge of it. Almost like a wall of something right there. But again, it starts here, right there, at the very end, and curves. You can see it going like this, coming around, and back down. And that's a straight piece lying right in the dirt. I mean, on the ground, I guess. It almost looks like another ship or something like that. There's an outline of something behind it. Look at this. Right there. I'd say these are structures, guys, or ships or something like that. Used to be next to an ocean, whatever it may be. Something right there. That looks kind of mechanical right there in itself. Let me back out just a little bit so it doesn't get too blurry. Exactly, Steve. I was just thinking the same thing. It looks like a destroyed dock area. Absolutely. Scott, you said the thing about this is that that's about the size of a football field. Well, you know, it's hard to tell exactly how big it is, but nonetheless, they're not natural. You know, I've heard people say, oh, man, he's just looking at rocks and stuff. Oh, really? Show me any rock here on this planet that looks like that. And again, I see something right there. That's just crazy right there to me. It just reminds me of some kind of, I don't know why I keep thinking like transportation. Some kind of weird machine that could fly. Now, I'm not saying that's what it is. Maybe I'm just hoping that's what it is. But again, the back here, and then it looks like a tube type thing, and the front of it kind of goes down, slants down in the front. And of course, we got all this mess right here. Should try to bring that out. And it looks like a bunch of mechanical junk laying all over the place. How can anybody say that looks like rocks? That's nuts. Thank you, Miss Haird. I appreciate your support, as always. Jack Lambert says, what's up, peeps and Chris? Damn, almost Well, most of the live show. Well, you got here. That's all that matters, right? Good to have you in there. Looks like some kind of weird casket kind of thing laying right here. I don't believe that's what it is, but, it has that shape. And like I said, I've done this a long time ago, at least in that boat area kind of thing. To me, that looks like a ship. And even if it's not, which I find it hard to believe it's not, that it's structural, one of the two. And there's something sticking right out of the ground right there. Look at this. You guys are just talking about the plants, see it? Kind of V's off right there. What's going on there, Mr. Brian Norton? He said, hi, Mars family and president. I'm stupid late. Well, better late than never. Brian, it's good to have you in there regardless, right? Again, yeah. Thank you, Miss Haird. Much appreciated. Divine Catalan, you said right under that there appears to be a man statue. Yeah, I mean, you can just see some crazy things in here, guys. Take the time to study it. That's all I ask. I tell people, just take your time to study it. Even if when I present something, you go, I'm really not sure he's on spot on this, but, that's fine. Look at it yourself. And again, I mean, the first thing I thought of when I seen this, look at, again, the back, right here on the left, straight, like these members straight up the center of this thing. Again, look at the width of this. Side to side, this thing's directly in the middle. And it looks like it kind of goes to a point in the front. It almost looks like it ends right here. Now, maybe it doesn't, because you still have another piece right here. We don't know. We have no idea. This thing could actually go all the way to the end right here. You can see it right here where it ends. See this? You can see that right there where that ends. So whatever the hell this thing is, it was quite large. Whether it's different, maybe it's a huge structural complex, and these are like different rooms. Could very well be. I don't know. Pure speculation. It's all we can do here is speculate because we don't know. Can't vet any of it, like I've said a million times before. But there you go. That, to me, is like the super smoking gun. You can't get any more smoking gun than that. Joey, you said the same thing. What did you just say? You can actually see the back end is so clear. Yeah, I mean, you said it was David that said that. So, yeah, the back end is so clear. Yeah, you can literally see that. And then the more you look, you can actually see the front. It's pretty, like, boom, it's right there at the end. But look at the size of this thing. Is it a ship? Was it a whole, structural complex right there? And there's, like, different rooms? Who knows? But to me, and like people say, well, you'll never know what it is, so why bother? Well, it's not even the point. I can tell the difference between nature and something that's not natural. You know what I mean? I see that, and clearly that's not natural. That's all there is to it. Joey Heffernan, I'm sorry. Thank you. I appreciate your support, man. Greatly appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, okay. Thing just jumped at me, but we're all right. We're good. I need the app. Unphotoshop, NASA Photoshop. Well, that's basically what we do. We try to, when I enhance these, I try to, not reverse it, but try to cut through some of it. And, of course, I always said, we're seeing tiny bits of that iceberg, man. We're just never going to see that. I just noticed something right here. Right there. Now, it's just below this stitch line. There's a stitch line running right here, going directly right across there. But just below this, there's a straight piece of white something, and it ends up right here. Comes down right here. You guys see that? I don't know if that actually curves. That might actually curve right there. Look at it. It looks like it comes up, goes over, and then back down like a pipe type thing. See it? And whatever it is, it has a black line there, and it curves at each elbow. There's an elbow there, one right there, and there's a line just before each elbow. What are the chances of that in nature? Let me see how far I can move. That's about as far as, I could probably go in a hair bit further. Oh, yeah. But right there. What are the chances of that? I just noticed this, too. The shiny piece. Well, no, maybe it's just some, it looked like there's a hole there or something like that. Some kind of design to that. Exactly, Phil. It's very non-fractional. Yep. Scott, Shamir, you said, have you ever went back to reinvestigate the city on the moon? No, I really haven't, to be truthful with you, but I got a lot of stuff on there that's, again, just screams unnatural, and something definitely has been built there, and someone has actually built it there. I gotta actually get back out of this. It's actually messing the photo up badly, too. Let me see. This is pretty cool, too. Look at this. You got these flat pieces right here. You can actually check this. This is neat. Check this out. Here we go. I'd never even seen this coming. Look at this. Right here. Dock. Square drop down. Right there. Look at it really good. And then a piece sticking straight out. Look at this. Square. 90-degree angle. Boom. To another corner in the back. This one comes over. Drops down. 90-degree angle. Goes across. 90-degree angle. Goes up. So we got two like platforms. One's like a side platform. One there. One there. They try to hide it underneath this, whatever this is. You guys see that? That's interesting. We put it right there in the middle of the screen. And Sombre Reptile, hi Chris, did you know 48% of global web users are on smartphones? People are increasingly accessing YouTube on tiny screens. NASA will depend on us seeing very little detail in these images. That's why I recommend if you guys can get yourself a hold of a laptop or even an old PC. It doesn't have to be, because you know it doesn't have to be super powerful. All you want to do is just watch YouTube, right? So you can actually see these things a lot better. I have people tell me, man, you got to zoom in, you got to zoom in. It's like, listen, I'm on a 24-inch high-definition screen, right? Which is not super big. I'm sorry, no, it's a 27-inch. It's not super big, but regardless, it's a lot bigger than a small phone. I'd rather watch it than watch it on an iPhone. I mean, you know, it's so small. A lot of times you can't see the cursor. It sucks. You definitely got to get on a PC. It's so much worth it. Jamie said, Chris, it's unreal stuff, man. Look at what you just found. Yeah, I didn't even see that, to be truthful, but you can see the square, one going off to the side there and one coming straight down. It's very, you can see where they blocked it in, plus it's probably in shadows, but check that out. I didn't even notice that last time. Like I said, you just don't know until you take your time, go through the stuff slowly. Look at this right here. What is this? This white piece of 1, 2, 3. It's like they didn't cover that completely up. Right there. I see like a blown apart civilization. That's exactly what I see. Martian junkyard. And guys, I promise you there's so much more out here. It's insane. In fact, I can see it right now. Look at this. Squares. Rectangles. Right there. One. There's one right here. There's something right here. You can see there's smaller squares right there. There's one right here. Like a rectangle. Then there's 1, 2, 3, 4. Maybe even 5. It looks like there's 2 of them right there. They're all lined up right there in the back. You can see it. Almost like this would be water or something like that, but there's something along the edges right here. These white pieces. This is, man, I would love to see these things untouched. Absolutely raw. Boom, right there in your face. Yep, Robbie. Yeah, you said to the left in the valley, same math spacing between 3 objects. That's what I'm saying. I mean, can nature show some really astounding stuff? Absolutely. I wouldn't hesitate to say yes. But when you see things like more than one thing in one area, and it's just like you said, evenly spaced, crap loads of angles, 90-degree angles. Just the list goes on. In one area, no, come on. I said this kidding around. Look at this strange rock. Yeah. Look at the way that thing curves right there. It's got this pot carved out of there. Look at this. It almost looks like some kind of shape of a taco kind of thing. You can see the way that thing has like one, folds over, and has this other wall right there. Check that out. Maybe it's a U-bolt clamp bracket. Broke it off. Kind of looks like that. You have the U-bolt going like this, coming like this, and then back threaded piece would come out this way. For the pipe. That's what it looks like. Look at this piece right here. I think because what the astronauts went through and the stuff they've seen, it totally blew their mind. Can you imagine what they see on Mars? More freaked out. So I think if they would admit it to the public, first of all, they're going to say, well, we've been lying all these years. But on the other side of the token, to be like, I don't think these people can handle it. And you know what? We may not be able to. But give us a little something. A little love. You know what I mean? Looks like a little bottle laying right here. Look at this. Right there in the middle of the screen. What is that? William Johnson says, yes, I agree, Chris. Civilization in ruins. James Gregan said, yep, blown apart city that didn't all blow up. XD Files is clearly a face. Oh, you can see, let me tell you something. There's stuff that you would never think you'd see in this kind of landscape. Again, not supposed to be anything here. But like I said, you know, NASA's hoping that the majority of people, look at this piece sticking right out. Sticking right out, looks like it's got a shadow right there. That the majority of people, and they're absolutely correct, do not know and won't ask questions. Again, ask any of your friends, parents, whatever, and just ask them about, what do you think about the latest pictures from Mars? Latest picture? What are you talking about? Yeah, that the Curiosity took. What the heck's the Curiosity? They would not have a clue. So, again, spreading this stuff helps wake people up so they can see what's really going on, right? And that's what it's all about. That's why I ask you guys help every time in these videos, because clearly there's so much more that they're not telling us. And it's as simple as that. Now look at some of these things right here. Looks like a human skull with goggles on. No, I'm kidding, but I don't know what that is, but look at this. Kind of looks like a helmet type thing with these, looks like a square type thing. And whatever this piece is right here, you can see at the very end of it's white. Got this whitish color, has this, where it slopes down, has this blunt end. This piece right here, look at this. First glance, I seen this, it looks like a wheel. Oh, a little car right there. Looks like two wheel wells, it, 1, 2. No, I'm just kidding. That's what it looks like. The first thing you think of is, now that may be a pareidolia, but these white things that are shadowed in here, looks like they try to just go over them. You're absolutely right, Phil. You're right. Yes. And the answer is yes. Don't all of these images belong to taxpaying Americans? Isn't it your taxes that pay for all this? Absolutely. Not to mention they just steal money. They don't care now. So, yeah. Marcus Maximus, what's going on? Hey, from Spain. What's going on? Good to have you in there. We're almost at the tail end of this, but still good to have you in there. Check this out. Almost looks like it has a square base to it and has this piece coming directly off of it. Like bends to the right. Put that right in the middle of the screen right there. Look at this white piece right here. It has this kind of like hooded type thing. It's white right there. It has these two little white dots directly underneath it. Right there. Whatever that is. And guys, we may never know exactly what these things are. And I said in my video, I don't care. What I care about is the things that it's either natural or it's not. And if it's not natural, what's it doing on Mars? Two simple questions. Is it natural or is it something intelligently made? Now, we can argue all of these here are all rocks. It's all natural. But take a closer look. Why do we have things that looks like this mechanical? Like, look at this. This white piece here. Right? Kind of looks oval. Kind of comes down. There's another piece to it right here, and it goes off like this. Has this round piece at the end. Almost like a pair of scissors. Look at it. It's like handle, and then it goes right to here. Almost like, what the heck would it be? Something similar to, like sheet metal shares or something like that. I'm not saying what it is. I'm just, you know, giving you guys an idea what it could look like, right? Right next to this weird bracket thing, or whatever this funny looking rock is. Look at this right here. On the ground. Yeah, Tim, you gotta love that. Love that featureless sand. Oh, yeah. Yeah, just some of these things are just absolutely wild. Look at this. Nice white piece right here. You can see it's like rectangular. You just see the white piece right at the very end here, the very part sticking out. You can see where they literally went over this. You can see it's blurry. There's like a round or dark, almost looks like a round detail, darker detail in it. White right there. Something right there. You can't really make that out. It looks like some kind of square object. This right here looks like there's something right there that's buried in the sand, or supposed sand. Look at this right here. Nice opening, nice and square. Right there. Put it right in the middle of the screen. Right there, and you can see something inside there. But look at this opening. Right there, and has that piece, and it almost looks like it has something round right here on the side of it. There's a chance of that, guys. Martian Dunkin' Donuts. John Beveridge, what's going on? You said, hi all, what's going on? Like I said, just ideas like this, like these pieces sticking right there. Like I said, square. You just barely see the white, and right there it's white at this one here hanging down. But look at that. Just the littlest things. They put something over it, and somehow you'll see something just peeking out of it. And that's what it's all about. I don't think this is, if you look at this right here, look at how they mushed this out, this whole thing. Put it in the middle of the screen. This whole object right here. If that's right there sticking out, and right there hanging down, clearly this is not just a simple mound. That's all there is to it. You can see shapes in the sand. Look at this. They did a horrible job of trying to cover this. It almost looks like there's an arch type thing right here. See that? Right in the middle. It's got these designs of something in there. What the hell? What's the chance of dirt doing that? So it's not dirt. It's manipulation over what's really there. Something's sticking out right there. Look at this. Not sure what to make of that. Right here. Going all along this piece right here. You can see the whitest piece just underneath all this junk. You can see where they really try to just go over this. I always like it when I see photos like a sand dune out in the middle of nowhere. It's always just sand dune. You never see like this loose sand anywhere else. You just see it like in this one little pile. I always laughed at that. Patron, what's going on? Good to see you in there. We're at the pretty much the tail end of this, but good to see you in there. Glad you made it there as always. You said, hi, everyone. Hi, Chris. William said, our not knowing what Martian design looked like, we have no reference point. Exactly. Absolutely. But that's why I said we may never know exactly what these things are, and I particularly don't care because we're just guessing as to what these things could be, right? Because clearly we can only speculate. But again, we can tell the difference between something that was intelligently made and something that's naturally made. At least pretty darn close, right? I don't know what the heck these things are here. Going across like this. Got these jagged pieces sticking up. No, I always say, yeah, that could be a rock. I'm okay with that. I don't have a problem with that. Just go over them slowly. And as soon as you start picking out these things pretty easy, boom, it's like just second nature. Look at this. Oh, look at a little mini statue. Right in the middle of this, see that? Now, clearly, I don't know what the heck that is, but that's what it reminded me of, like a little head and a body. Marcus, there's a lot of junk in that Mars trunk, no doubt. You got that right, Miss Haird. Fake sand is so indigenous to Mars. Yeah, and only NASA can find it. James Cragen says, hey, Chris Mann, another smash of a hangout tonight, and just unreal comments and chat room from the great people who subscribe to this top channel with yourself. I love the hangout and all that's involved. Oh, absolutely, man. Sometimes the littlest things. It's like boom. Like a rock with a couple little white legs sticking out of it. Look at this. Something right there. There's something right there. And then, of course, you don't see any detail of this. It's been completely wiped and erased. But I can clearly see there's something white right there and something right there sticking out of it. It's actually part of something much larger. I can see it right here. Coming down like this. So there's something here that's just sticking out of onto the ground. That's what it looks like anyway. This thing. The end of this rock. Nice little square. Little detail right there on top of it. Phil, you said whatever we all see, that's what it will be until proven otherwise. There's no such thing as pareidolia. It was a word made up in the 90s by a skeptic, and it's been the only argument they have. Exactly. Totally agree. Brian, you said you would think that if they truly have 250 employees paid to cover this crap up, why can't they just get just one to jump the fence and come clean? That would be the best day ever. Absolutely. That's why I said, can you imagine if somebody sent it, one of us these real photos? They're like, oh man, look at this crap. They got something hidden right here. It's like the same texture right there. It's got like a little opening there. Like rectangular kind of piece there. Look at this right here underneath this. Round piece, like almost like a framework right underneath this. Kind of goes off here and then it right there it actually disappears a little bit, but you go like this. Put this in the middle. Right there, it's rounded, got this nice curvature to it, but then it keeps going into this darker manipulation. You can see like it looks like pieces like going outward underneath this so-called rock, and I don't believe it's a rock at all. There you go, guys. Like I said, this to me, just alone, I don't want to spoil it for the people who haven't seen the video, so I don't want to go back to that part because it'll definitely spoil it. But, again, that's all the proof you need right there, man. That's all you need. It's just, it's compartments. You can see that. And there's something right here laying on the ground. You can see this right here. And it's like, check this out, guys. It's actually got the same thing. Look at this. Round circle, very faint. Right there, has this lighter colored, what looks like a knob sticking out, but look at the other side, absolutely identical. Rounded, faint line, you can see that, with something right there. Looks like a framework going up like this here, coming down to that. And they're both doing the same thing. They're actually symmetrical. Comes down, boom, connects into this round piece, and you can see the base of this is very, very light, but right there's a line, round circle base to it. This one does the same, but you can see they scribble this one out, but it comes over here. Comes down to that round piece as well, and it has an outside base to it, like a ring. It's symmetrical. There's something sitting right there. Framework or something. James, you said, Chris, there's a lot of carved and or carvings in this photo, big time. Yeah. Exactly, John. Yep. Beverage, you said Life and Death on Mars by John Brandenburg. Read it. Yep. I think I almost had he had like a, what do they call those? It's like you can read it online. It's almost like a PDF, but it's an actual online book. I was reading parts of this that somebody had read or they actually put online. And absolutely. I mean, I actually like to have him on the channel. That'd be awesome. But I wrote to him a while back, but they're probably thinking, I don't want to bother. We're just small fish here, right? Just small fish. And this is where we done the, right there. should be right about here is where we done the other video. And again, guys, just this alone, look at this. These pieces sticking out. Right here. Right here. It's supposed to be a rock, but you can see literally almost through. There's a square with a round piece. Got these details in it. This supposed rock. Wow. You know, if you haven't watched the video, just watch it. It's crazy. A lot of good stuff in there. I call this the Martian toaster. Got to be silly at some point. Look at that. I just seen this. It looks like a skeleton laying on his face. Look at this. I'm not saying that's what it is because it clearly looks like it's mechanical. You can see something square. Look at the right there. You see 90-degree angles right here. But it looks like something round with some other pieces there. See that? But there's that thing I said, oh, look, a Martian dog. It's got ears, head, the face. Oh, maybe it's a Martian kangaroo. Tim's taking off. All right, man. I'm glad you were here and get to spend the time with us. He said, thanks, Chris, and good night. All gotta go. See you all next time. All right, man. You have yourself a good weekend and be safe there, right? I have to admit, that's probably the closest thing I've seen to some kind of weird animal. It looks like two front legs. You can actually see the eyes, the mouth, the ears. I'm not saying that's what it is. It could be something else. But it just, maybe it's a pareidolia. Oh, it's that swamp gas again. It gets in my eyes. I'm sorry, guys. Not sure what this is here. That's just probably a small bomb laying on the surface. I wouldn't worry about it. I mean, all kinds of crazy things in there. You can go on and on with this. You guys got the link there when you watch it. After you watch the video, you can actually see that. Drop the links in there. Describe what we see. Of course, I didn't go into this area here, but that area alone is just astronomical. Pieces like this. Look at this. Gray almost looks like triangular shaped. Piece going up. Another piece identical. Going to and from it. Or fro, as they like to say. See that? Yeah, just, like I said, stuff that's just out of nowhere. You know, here's something right here. It has like these two pieces sticking out. You can almost see the base of this thing right there. Actually, I can see another line right there, too. A nice curved line right directly in the middle of that. You guys see that? Going too far, though. It really starts to look like crap. But right there, you can see this thing. It's a little bit white here and there peeking through, but whatever these things are, they look like squares or some kind of openings. See that? Look at this thing. Nice round circle around this piece here. It's round, but the outside of it echoes the same shape as this piece sitting there. Oh, yeah. Just have a good look at this stuff, guys. It's crazy. Oh, we were zoomed to what, 350%? I wonder why I started to look distorted. But, you know, it is what it is, right? Alrighty then, let's jump on off of this. You can always put this back up. I like this picture. It's pretty sharp. Looks nice. Anyway, guys, again, an awesome hangout. You guys are the best. You guys rock. Thank you all for your support. Verbally, monetarily, doesn't matter. It's great that you guys are supporting the channel. Some of you guys are buying the merch. Greatly appreciate it. It does help out the channel. We're going to be updating this computer, by the way. Like I said, I'm going to jump this thing from, I think it's like 16 gigs of RAM. We're going to be jumping up to like 64. More computing power, the better we are. It helps with the, Photoshop, helps with all that. And, it's kind of wimpy if you think about it. It's supposed to be a gaming computer. My other computer had 64 gigs of RAM in it. Of course, it was only DDR3, so it's kind of cheesy. But regardless, 12 core processor in that computer. And that's the one that's going, so I'm going to have to beef this one up. But anyway, always good to have you guys in there. You guys rock and roll. You guys know that. I can't say it enough. Just a great community. I love coming on here every Friday evening. Something to look forward to. I go, man, end of the week's coming. This is awesome. The only thing that sucks is I got to work the next day. It is what it is. Life gets in the way. You know how that works. Got to pay the bills. But, once again, love you guys. Love you all for being here. Nothing but support and love from you guys. Great community, talking back with each other, back and forth, and having just great conversation. And that's what it's really about, isn't it? That's what it's really about. Like-minded people talking about different things. And again, if you have differences of opinion, you don't get ridiculed here. You just say, listen, I believe it's this, and okay, we can either agree or disagree, just like you can do with me. I don't have a problem with that. So, again, great bunch of people. So anyway, everybody, if it's probably already Saturday for a lot of you guys, have a great day and a good weekend. Anybody who's still Friday for you guys, have a good Friday night and a good weekend coming up there, right? And happy Father's Day to all the dads out there and the moms that had to step up for the dads. God bless you guys. And happy Father's Day to all you guys. You guys are rocking and rolling. And keep up the good work because you guys look for this stuff as well. And you actually pointed out to me too. Anyway, guys, have yourselves a good one. Nothing but love for you guys. Everybody have a great weekend. Weekend. I'll see you guys later. Peace, guys.